Alright, what's up everyone? Yeah, we're gonna try and play through the remainder of the mirrors tonight, going up the other branch this time and seeing what the other endings look like, because we played through one of them yesterday and saw some pretty interesting stuff, so hopefully the story will be just as good on the other side of this branch. Yeah, just let's get straight to it because there's quite a fair bit to go through, I think. Yeah, this game's been pretty good. I've been enjoying it a lot, and hopefully you guys have been enjoying it as well. Yeah, the music is from Eve Burst Era by Ryu Umemoto. It's a really good soundtrack. Eve is sort of a detective story. It's a very good one as well, but with it being on PC-88, there's obviously some very not Twitch-friendly scenes in it, so at some point we will get to play it because I do have the PC version, Eve Burst Era R, which should be Textractor compatible, but yeah, I'll see about doing something about that soon. How's everyone doing tonight anyway? Let's just get going, shall we? I was actually looking at the group that translated Mirrors as well, Nebulous, and they've done quite a few, but there's nothing that really sticks out to me besides Tuned Heart on PC-88, which is it's a top-down strategy RPG, which looks pretty good actually. Looks pretty good. Oh, you played it last year? Yeah, it's very interesting to me, but like I said, it doesn't work with Textractor, unfortunately, so I have to look for a different way of playing it. And I think the PC version, which is Eve Burst Era R, was probably going to be the best one to go for. I would have preferred to play the PC-98 version, but it is what it is, unfortunately. Yeah, the localization is terrible on the Windows version, which is why I'm skipping that one and going to the remake instead. Yeah, we've got options. It's fine. And so the main disk and drive one. We have options. I mean, there's plenty of other stuff I can be playing as well, though. So, okay. Set the game disk and drive 2. Yes. So we're going to be reloading the game at this point, at the point where we choose to either tell Susanna about the letter or not. This time we're going to tell her about the letter. What's up, Golden Juggernaut? Yeah, I just bought the Blade Runner remake, so I'm looking to see if I can fit it in the schedule to play stuff soon, because there's quite a lot that's just basically forced its way into the list of games to play on stream soon. But yeah, Blade Runner remake is definitely something I'm going to be putting onto the list because I've played the game already, but I want to see what the remake looks like. But the Blade Runner game is just so good. It's really good. Batteries, Shrapnel, everyone else, how you guys doing? Golden Jogador, PP Paco, Iwins, I saw you there as well. Yeah, how's everyone doing tonight? We're going to be finishing off Mirrors tonight. Try and get the rest of the endings in this one. I think there's supposed to be 7 endings. I'm not sure how you get one of them though, because I'm sure that the branch that Trap took had 3 endings only. You're pretty... Well, I don't think you're going to be missing out too much because yesterday's VOD basically started at this point anyway, so you're not really missing that much. You're just missing a different set of endings. Yeah, it's what? It's currently 8:10 at the moment. Pretty late here. Well, late in the evening, yeah. Once the party was over, Susanna visited David in his room. Phew, I'm so tired. That was a bigger party than I expected. Well, I'm leaving for my holiday tomorrow. This reminds me, when are you gonna go back to your apartment? I'll help you clean up. Sus, Anna. Getting out of bed late, so probably in the evening. You'd better steel yourself though. I didn't tidy it one bit, so it's as messy as it was before we left for the tour. What's up, Tips? Yeah, those mirrors are pretty smudged, yeah. That bad, eh? Lucky for you, I enjoy cleaning. I'll bring some fresh ingredients so we can have dinner in your room instead of eating out. You're gonna cook for me? I look forward to that. I'm not sure I'll even be able to fall asleep now. But you have to. You'll have nightmares again if you don't rest properly. David considered telling Susanna about the letter he received, but the sender said not to tell anyone. Yeah, because we did this one the last time. This time we're going to tell her about it and see what happens. Speaking of dreams, take a look at this letter. Someone left it for me at the front desk. It mentions the Devil King. Blood drained from Susanna's face as she read the letter. By the end of it, her hands were shaking. Susanna? Is something wrong? No, it's fine. I'm just a little tired. Anyway, it does mention the Devil King. How would they know about your dreams? I've wondered that myself. I've only mentioned it once to the guys during the tour. Maybe they told somebody else? Nah, I don't think they did. Maybe it was a tabloid reporter who sent you the letter. They may try to write an article linking your popularity to an occult part or something. That would be very bad. I mean, you should probably tell them the truth at this point. Those people know how to get a story out of you. You know what? I'm not going. Yeah, so at this point, he doesn't go, so at this point, we don't actually get all the events which lead up to us finding out who the King of the North is. So we're going to get a much different side of the story here. Agreed, if they were legit, they'd just come to talk to you directly. Unfortunately, when you're popular, you also attract a lot of weirdos. I'm glad I showed you the letter. With that load off my shoulders, I feel so sleepy now. Between the concert and the party, I don't know how I'm still up and about either. I'll go home and sleep. Have a good night, David. Susanna left the room. David laid down on the bed and fell asleep immediately. Yeah, so as we found out yesterday, this side of the story will be very different to what happened yesterday, so if you missed stuff yesterday, you're not really going to be missing too much. You can just catch up with the VOD tomorrow, later. But this side of the story is going to be very different, I believe. The following day, David woke up around noon. He was still anxious about that letter. Without receiving any further communication from the sender, he prepared to leave the hotel. Susanna opened the door and walked into the room. Sus, Anna. Are you ready, David? I've already brought all my stuff home, so once you're done checking out, we can have a real vacation. Whoever sent me that letter never contacted me again. I guess they weren't serious after all. Let's go, Susanna. 1 second. Oh yeah, I'm still on there. Yeah, it's fine. Just checking something because Restream says I'm offline for some reason on OBS, which is bizarre. I think it's just because it's dumb. Yeah, they wanted to have a trip to the country, sus, yeah. Whoever sent me that letter never contacted me again. I guess they weren't serious after all. Let's go, Susanna. Yeah, so at this point we don't know much about Connors. We don't know much about the King of the North. We're assuming that the two detectives are still following us. And so on and so forth, so a much different set of events is going to happen now. After leaving the hotel, they took a cab to David's apartment. After tidying up the room, Susanna started cooking as she had promised. This is probably the first time this room is filled with such a delicious smell. I usually just heat up some instant meals. Like a true bachelor. Why would you like to leave for the countryside? I'm ready when you are. I suppose it's best to leave ASAP. 2 weeks don't last that long. Like a true junkie, yeah. How about tomorrow? Hayworth isn't very far from here. We can go there by car. And by car we can take as many detours as we want. Yeah, so they still go to Hayworth at this point. I like that. Fewer people will see us travel. It'll be more relaxing. Yeah, let's go by car. Food! Half a lobster, or 2 halves of a lobster. soup, and what looks like a sprig of broccoli. Alright, it's ready. Sit down. I've made your favourites. What, lobster's his favourite? Jesus. I thought he only ate ready meals. Wow, this looks and smells amazing. Would you do this for me every day if we got married? David opened a bottle of champagne and made a toast to their vacation together. Yeah, so I don't think he actually proposes to her here either. Well, maybe he did at this point. David's first night of the vacation passed wonderfully without a single nightmare. Possibly because Susanna was sleeping right next to him. However, the next day around noon, David's car left the M3 motorway, entering the A30 road. They were being tailed by Clark and Vince. Well, who knew David and Susanna were an item? We can make a boatload of cash selling pictures of their vacation together. That's only as long as nobody else finds out about it. At any rate, they're supposed to be heading for Hayworth, like in the Wuthering Heights, but why aren't they taking the A6? If you're on the A30 on your vacation, you're probably going to Salisbury. You know, Stonehenge. Stonehenge, huh? A fitting spot for the Devil King. By the way, it turns out that Susanna's mother is known in some circles as a sorceress and fortune teller. And Susanna's hobbies include fortune telling as well. Now that you mention it, all the people she met during the tour had something to do with divination. Maybe David's ring had something to do with it. Yeah, this music's so good. He has no special interest in fortune telling, but he does like that ring. It wouldn't surprise me if our client was connected to that stuff, considering how concerned they are about it. We're getting involved in some kind of conflict between white mages and dark mages? Let's drop the case, Chief. I don't like occult stuff. These two. We're professionals, we can't drop a case once we take it. But that said, this contract only covers David's vacation. I'll turn down any further requests. Cluebers, what's up? Good evening. As the sun began to set, David and Susanna arrived in Salisbury. Instead of staying at the luxurious Red Lion Hotel, they parked their car in front of the smaller Cathedral Hotel. Shortly after 9 PM, they left the hotel and entered the A360 road. Yeah, they're taking a lot of side roads here. The headlights of their car shone light on the road as they drove through the vast fields and pastures lit by starlight. Oh, nice, cycling. I would cycle more, but I've got nowhere to keep a bike here, which is kind of annoying. Can't keep it out the back because I'd have to take it through the house to get it to the front door. Can't keep it at the front because, yeah, it's not a good idea keeping bikes in the main street. Which is a shame really, because I like cycling. They won't let you inside Stonehenge during the day. It's much better during the night. It's quiet and there's nobody around. We can stand in the middle of Stonehenge and look at the stars. Yeah, not sus at all, is it? Stonehenge. I've been to Stonehenge before, but never during the night. I feel like it would be pretty ominous without lights. Maybe banging on the stones, yeah. There's few fields around. We must be getting close. The headlights of the car illuminated the megaliths of Stonehenge. David parked the car at the end of the paved road. Though there were no artificial lights, these enormous boulders arranged in a circle were clearly visible under the starlight. It was like a scene from a fantasy world. Music's so good. This is the center of Stonehenge. Look, David, if you turn south you can see a very bright star in the gap between the stones. That's the Star of Darkness. You can see the stars from here too. Maybe it's because there's no moon tonight, but the sky seems covered with stars. It's like it's floating in space. It's like we're floating in space, rather. Standing near Susanna, David looked up towards the southern skies. He could only see the stars above him, however, as the huge stones were covering the view south. Drug-induced stupor. Where's the gap you mentioned? I can't see anything south. You see that cavity in the stones in front of you? Look at the top of the stone sitting above and connect to the top of that other stone. Try crouching a little. Bing! Well, that's definitely a bright star. Surprised I didn't notice it earlier. What star is it? Sus star. That's the Bellmare Comet. It approaches Earth only once every 300 years. It should be at its closest in a week. Its apparent magnitude is about 5, so it's not particularly famous. Yeah, so that's the Star of Darkness that people have been referring to. As it only appears every 300 years. Is it really only 5? It looks as bright as the moon to me. That's only because you're seeing it between the stones. Even this way I can barely make it out. You must have an exceptional eyesight. Excuse me. When I look at that star, I feel I can sense the power of the universe itself. What happens during our concerts seems so small in comparison. The universe is amazing. Gazing at the stars is romantic, but I can't do what you do. What's it like sensing the power of the universe? I don't think I'm doing anything special. You're not thinking I'm going to change into the Devil King, are you? I'm still the same as ever. Yeah, at this point she still hasn't told him yet. Would it be so bad though? As the Devil King, you could fly among the stars. Then you could hold me and we could fly together, like Superman or Peter Pan. David and Susanna were both laughing happily, unaware that there's a car approaching them with the headlights off. After a while the car left Stonehenge. Yeah, it doesn't happen at this point. Clark and Vince emerged from the shadow of a megalith. They walked to the centre of Stonehenge where David and Suzanne had been standing a few moments earlier. They turned their eyes towards the southern sky. I think I see it, Chief. That Bellmare Comet Susanna was ranting about. It just looks like any other star though. Yeah, some comets do orbit around the sun. Too small to be called planets. Too big to be called asteroids. Was astronomy one of Susanna's hobbies? I've never heard about this Bellmare Comet once in my entire life. What about you? I barely know about Halley's Comet. Is it that strange that Susanna knows about it? Nothing weird in chatting about stars while stargazing with your boyfriend? Clark looked around as if considering whether to inspect the area or not. Eventually he and Vince got in their own car and left Stonehenge. That's it. Do we have weird shit happening yet? In one of the hotel's double rooms, Susanna was sleeping peacefully. David, who was sleeping next to her, woke up and looked around the room. David. Did someone call out to me? It was a man's voice, so it couldn't have been Susanna. David. Whoa, someone's calling my name. Yeah, so he sees King Croth at this point. Just like before. David. Who are you? Show yourself. I am King Croth. I live on in your blood. The Star of Darkness is calling, and time has come for the Devil King to return. The voice was loud and clear as if it came from within the room. David looked around, but there was nobody else besides him and Susanna. By laying your eyes on the blood of the northern tribes, my blood shall settle... Well, my blood shall seethe within your veins, and the Devil King shall be reborn. That is only possible now that the Star of Darkness shines upon the earth. You saying have the blood of the Devil King? I don't care about that, I'm fine the way I am. I don't want to become a devil. That will not do. The King of the North will hunt you down and kill you in order to sever the bloodline of the Devil King. The battle has begun the moment the Star of Darkness first shone upon this planet. There's no such thing as a King of the North in this day and age. You've only been showing me nightmares and visions of vengeance from a long time past. And even if there were a King of the North, I can't just kill someone. You have been exposed to the light of the Star of Darkness. Your power as the Devil King is already manifesting itself, and the northern tribes took notice. By denying your call as the Devil King, you are willingly accepting death. Yeah, exactly, said the guy who sang kill, kill, kill in front of a frenzied audience. My power as the Devil King? Enough of this nonsense! David shouted loudly, waking Susanna up. What's wrong, David? Who are you talking to? The sound of Susanna's voice brought David back to himself. He could no longer hear King Hroth. You're sweating like crazy. Did you have a nightmare? It was neither a nightmare nor a vision. I was talking to King Hroth himself. He said the blood of the Devil King flowed in my veins. I don't want to believe it, but I think I have to accept it. King Hroth, you say? I didn't hear anyone. I knew it. You possess amazing powers that no one else has. What did he tell you? He said that now that the Star of Darkness is close, I must lay my eyes on the blood of the northern tribes, awaken as the Devil King, and have my revenge upon the King of the North. But I'm not a murderer. You're a pussy, that's what you are. The Star of Darkness from beyond the end of the universe. Belmare Comet? If that's the case, it would be at its closest point 1 week from now. Did you mention where to find the King of the North? No, nothing about it. He only said that because I've already manifested the power of the Devil King, the northern tribes will come to kill me. Listen, Susanna, I think it'd be best if you return home alone. Yeah, like that's happening. No, I can't live without you. The Susanna from your visions always remained at her king's side. I want to do the same. This has become one hell of a vacation. What's going to happen to me if I become the Devil King? Will I be able to keep singing? Cheer up, David. Here, take this pill and get some sleep. Let's get coked up! David took the pill and calmed down, falling asleep in Susanna's arms. Oh, isn't that sweet? Isn't that sweet? David and Susanna left the hotel early in the morning, taking the A30 road to Bath. Oh, is that what they are? They're near Leeds. I grew up in Hayworth. After my mother passed away, I was raised by her dearest friends, Mr. and Mrs. Lands. I'm sure they'll treat you well. Do you really think the northern tribes could come looking for me? This is the modern age. We have the police for one thing. Think about it. Those nightmares, those visions you have, those aren't natural. If the Devil King is real, then so is the King of the North. We just passed Bath. If we take the M5 motorway, we can stop for lunch in Bristol. Good idea. We haven't had breakfast, so I'm feeling a little peckish. Didn't you just had sausage last night, though? Sausage and 2 eggs. David parked the car at the Maxwell Plum restaurant in Bristol. As he and Susanna sat down at a table, Clark and Vince entered as well, sitting down at a nearby table. God, seriously, these two are not conspicuous at all, are they? Thank God we stuck the bug on their door. They usually wake up in the afternoon, but they left the hotel early in the morning. I wonder what happened. When I mentioned the Belmare Comet, our client kept asking for more details. Then they told me to keep a closer eye on David. Something's definitely up. I don't like this, Chief. Call me paranoid if you want, but there's been weird murders around us ever since we've been on this case. Like, wherever Susanna goes, someone ends up dead, even if she's not involved. Maybe I should have one of my friends in the business investigate the client. It should be fine as long as he doesn't drop my name. The phone number the client's using could be a good place to start. Yeah, so we're going to find out who the client is at this point. Please do. To know the enemy, know your allies, or something like that. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer, you idiot. Alright, I'll call him. You keep an eye on our couple. Clark left to make a phone call. Alright, I think it's going to pick up pretty soon though. It did in the previous branch. Especially when we got to Hayworth. While Clark was using the phone booth, Susanna herself walked towards it, waiting for her turn. After finishing his call, He waited until Susanna was looking away to return to his table unnoticed. When Susanna came back to her table, Clark went back to the phone booth one more time, returning shortly after. Sus Anna here. Who needs enemies when you have friends like her? Nice job with the bug. Let's rewind this baby and find out who she was talking to. I'm lucky I had this wiretap with me. I wasn't expecting her to make a phone call right after me. Let's hear it already. I feel weird just looking at the tape. I listened to it first. Damn it, they're leaving. David and Susanna paid the bill and left. Clark and Vince left in a rush. Detectives. Both cars were driving along the A30 road. As it was a working day, the road was clear, and the cars were moving at a fast pace. Why don't we listen to the tape, Chief? Nobody will be able to hear us here. Clark started playing the tape. Although unclear due to the noise, voices could be heard. I'll be there later today. Tell the others to meet me at the predetermined location. There's no doubt that David has inherited it, but we have yet to... Where are you now? The northern tribes could make a move any time now. You must hurry. About the northern tribes, David hasn't noticed yet, but the two detectives are still following us. Have you found out anything about their client? We've managed to take a picture, but our markers managed to elude us. Then we'll let them roam free for the time being until we know the identity of their client. We may have another chance soon. Talk to you soon. Conversation ended there. She was talking to a woman. The two detectives. That's gotta be us. So Susanna knows we're tailing her. What do we do now? I get it now. Remember when she was waiting around near the Tower of London? She was confirming her suspicions. Well, since they know about us, I guess we can investigate with impunity now. Looks like they're headed for Hayworth. It's too far away to reach within the day though, they'll probably stay somewhere along the way. We'll find out soon enough. Anyway, it looks like Susanna's friends are also looking into our client, and they mentioned the northern tribes. David's car left the highway and entered Stratford, the birthplace of William Shakespeare. They drove through the countryside along the River Avon. Rather than entering the town, David's car took a small road that followed the Avon Canal, a small agricultural waterway tributary of the River Avon. Excuse me. Finally, they reached a farmhouse in the middle of a large field. Susanna knocked at the door, and they were greeted by a couple in their 50s. David and Susanna were greeted with a smile and invited inside. Clark and Vince stopped their car and watched from a distance. However, they did not seem to get out of the car. The Scots, yeah. Northern tribes. Anything above Birmingham is considered the North. Susanna introduced David to the couple. Oh, so this must be the Lands. David, oh, these are different. David, these are Gerd Holly and his wife Harriet. We used to visit them often when my mother was still with us. We were on our way through the countryside, and when I thought about you, I wanted to see you again. Would you mind if we stayed for the night? Harriet. You can stay for as many days as you'd like, sweetie. It's just the two of us here. We could use the company. Mr. Gerd, are you still studying magic? I'm nowhere as good as your mother was, but people still come to me to have their fortunes told, even if they don't always come true. How about you? I had to focus on my work, so I pretty much forgot all about it. I'd like to study it again once I have some free time. Whoa, you used to know magic? So this is where he finds out, I guess. My mother was a sorceress, you see. She was pretty famous, so I used to imitate her. I could never touch lizards and frogs, though. I think it is, yeah. And Susanna from my visions was also a sorceress. If you're her descendant, you might be able to become a first-rate sorceress yourself. He already is, believe it or not. Harriet called out from the dining room. Grub's up. Dinner's ready. Simple countryside cooking, but it's definitely better than what they serve at those fancy restaurants out there. Before they knew it, the table was covered with dishes. Mr. and Mrs. Holly were intently listening to David as he talked about his life in the music world. The dinner continued late into the night. Why don't we go out for a walk, David? There's no pubs and neon lights around, only fields. But I guarantee it's the freshest air you'll ever breathe. Yeah, countryside air is nice. David was indeed tired of talking and wanted to be alone with Susanna, so he agreed. Disk access. Yeah, most of these photos are taken from probably famous people, I would assume. David and Susanna went for a night stroll. Excuse me. As they walked along the path in the field, they could hear the sound of water flowing through the canal. Ding dong, ding dong. The canal could be crossed over through a small bridge. David and Susanna leisurely walked over it. Susanna, I remember this place. It was in one of my nightmares. We were attacked by two men, and then they stabbed you, and you fell in the river. And now there's two men beyond the bridge, just like in my nightmare. Uh-oh. Okay, let me save it, just in case. This probably isn't a branch yet, though. We're getting closer. Do you think the King of the North sent them? In my nightmare, there were two men behind us as well. We had nowhere to run, Susanna. Would you mind checking behind us? It's too dark to tell, but I don't think there's anyone there. At least that's different from the nightmare. Watch out, they're approaching us. The two men approached them, glaring at David. They pulled out knives and attempted to stab him. David twisted his body, dodging the knife, and grabbed the man's arm. The man spun in the air, falling square to the ground. Seeing this, the other man approached David more carefully, while the first one picked up his knife and got up again. Afraid for their lives, Susanna screamed, "Help! Someone help us!" Susanna, go call Mr. Holly. I can't, there's two more men on the other side. It's like your nightmare. David shivered as he saw two more men running their way. Is it time for the King of the North to awaken? The two assailants ran away the moment they noticed the two figures approaching. Susanna turned towards the two men approaching them, who turned out to be Clark and Vince. Huh. Hey, you okay? Those guys had knives. We're fine, thanks. For a while we thought you were with them. We are. Do we look like murderers to you? Don't answer that. We heard a scream and we came running. Yeah, well, yes, we're threatened. Let's go for a night walk alone. Not entirely smart, are they? Could have turned real ugly real fast. I'm grateful. I mean it. Would you mind telling us what brought that on? Those men were armed. We should inform the police. I don't know what to say. They didn't say a word. They just took out their knives and assaulted us. You must really have it in for you. Probably. This is my first time in this town. I've never done anything that would make people hate me to death. Are you with the police? No, I'm just curious. Maybe they just figured a couple walking alone in the night would be easy to mug. Anyway, be careful on your way back. Susanna thanked Clark, holding David's hand tight as they left. Clark and Vince stayed there a while, making sure nothing else happened. Good guys. My gut tells me the purpose of our investigation is giving someone the info they need to find and kill David. We better find out more about our client before they take away our license. Yeah, so because of you guys, they know where David is. Chief, could it be our client is related to those northern tribes, and they believe that David is a descendant of this Devil King? I mean, who else would want him dead? There's no proof of that, but it might very well be. As much as I hope not. I mean, you are basically telling your client exactly where he is at all times, so... David and Susanna returned to the Holly household. They did not mention the incident. The rest of the night was luckily uneventful. David and Susanna woke up early in the morning and set off. The car drove past the hills of Manchester towards Haworth. David, those men who attacked us were from the northern tribes. Their bloodline survived throughout history to this very day. You can tell? So I might actually die if I don't become the Devil King, like King Hroth said. I don't know what to expect anymore. I'm going to keep you safe. I'll get in contact with friends of my mother's. They're sorcerers. They'll help us find the King of the North. Everything's going to be fine once he's dead. Murderer's wrong. I'd rather talk to the police about this. And what are they going to do? Exactly. They're not going to believe you. If you mention anything about the Devil King or the King of the North, they're just going to send you to a psychiatric ward. It would be the end of Alina Vision. Besides, the northern tribes aren't an army. We can take care of it ourselves. You know, those two men who saved us? There's something off about them. Their timing was a little too perfect. And I feel like I've seen them before. Yes, I have a feeling they've been following us for a while. But forget about them. You were so cool when you dodged that knife. Is that the only thing you can think of, woman? I surprised myself. I was never good in a brawl, not even as a kid. Maybe it's the power of the Devil King. Could be. If you have his power, you should be fine even if the northern tribes attack you again. David and Susanna finally reached Haworth late in the afternoon. There was no real town there. It was mostly a rural village, with wild pastures used by farmers to raise their sheep. Yeah, perks of being a Devil King, eh? David's car followed a road that went through the wilderness, up and down the hills, and thankfully didn't run over any sheep or shepherds. Eventually they reached a small old fortress. The car passed through a stone gate and then stopped. Susanna took out a key, unlocked the gate, and stepped inside with David. Surprised he hasn't noticed that this is the castle in his dreams as well. Mr. Lands is supposed to be here. Maybe he's out shopping. When you said you lived in the countryside, I was expecting a farmhouse, not a castle. Everything looks clean. Does anyone live in it? Mr. Lands and his wife look after it. They did some extra cleaning just for us. Let's go up to the roof, David. The view there is fantastic. King of the world! Susanna led David up the stairs to the rooftop. Look, very as far as the eye can see. Not even a single tree. The northern tribes will never catch us by surprise. Like a castle in the middle of nowhere. Come to think of it, Susanna, I think I've seen it before. You have, you idiot. Have you been to Haworth in the past? I remember now. It was one of my visions. King Hroth and the Fear were at the top of the castle. It wasn't just wilderness back then, though. There was a lot of green, fields and houses. It was very similar to this view. If this was actually the castle of King Hroth, then the so-called King of the North would be north from here. It could be Edinburgh, or even further north. Maybe King Hroth used his forbidden arts to flood the wilderness and turn them into lush fields. When you think about it, with modern technology you can bring water to a desert and make it arable. Don't think that's what happened though. If you were to become the Devil King, you could use the forbidden arts to cover the world with green. Not even King Hroth had that kind of power. Now that we're safe, I suddenly feel tired. Is there a room where I could lie down? Excuse me. Oh, I'm so sorry. We've been driving all morning. I should have noticed you'd be tired. My room should be ready for use. My room should be ready for use. Hint, hint. Susanna guided David to her room. It was clean and decorated with flowers. David laid on the bed without even undressing. Meanwhile, Susanna went downstairs to get their luggage. He did not notice falling asleep, but he was awakened by voices coming from outside the window. Warily, he got up, approaching the window. He could not believe his eyes. There was a mob of peasants carrying swords, spears and other weapons. Some were shooting arrows, but the shooters were too far away for them to reach him. A man fully dressed for battle shouted at David, "We told you to never come back to the castle. Why have you returned? The King of the North will be upon us soon. If you don't leave before he's here, he'll kill us all." The King of the North used this power to subjugate the land. The magic won't work. Look, it's all a barren wasteland now. We chose to live here nonetheless because we didn't want to fight. Leave! Hurry! Peasants surrounding the castle were all shouting at him. That's what they're supposed to think. Although in one of the visions, the Devil King actually used his powers to create a lush wilderness. Not lush wilderness, a lush area for his people to live in. But the King of the North took it over at that point. David was unable to reply. Then he heard a voice coming from behind him. Voice coming from behind him, eh? Oi! David turned around. There was a large man wielding a sword. I keep forgetting to take a picture of this because you don't get a proper look at him. But yeah, this if you remember is actually the King of the North. The Archbishop. The face is so good though. Everyone's got this huge frown on them. So you are the one who has inherited the blood of the Devil King. I am the King of the North. King of the North, how did you come here? Marlon Brando, yeah, probably. With my magical prowess, I'm able to go anywhere I want. I wish to test your skills, but it seems death will soon be upon you. I keep hearing that we're supposed to fight, but I don't care about this nonsense. Can we just lay these old grudges to rest? Let me save it here. Just in case. If the Devil King is revived from your blood, my own bloodline will be severed, and I shall be erased from existence. If you truly wish to end this ancient grudge, you must cut off your bloodline. I can't use magic like you do, but the power of the Devil King always emerges to save me. There's no point in fighting. If the Devil King is reborn, I will stand no chance. I must kill you now before it's too late. The King of the North pointed a sword at David and chanted a spell. David screaming .wav. Ah! David collapsed on the floor, writhing in pain while holding his head. Begone, Devil King. You must have thought that I would fight with my sword, but you should have known I could cast spells. By my power, the blood of the man called David shall boil. Let the blood of the Devil King be purged from this world. No, scream, scam. I can fix that, give me a second. That can be easily arranged. We'll probably get one in a second, mate. But, yeah. Is that the hosting? Whoop. Wrong button. That's a test button. Hold on. Streamlabs is pretty good for that stuff though. Here it is. There you go. He's gonna scream at this point. There you go. You got it in game as well. Yeah, fucking tests. Ah, my body burns. It's almost over. Rest in. What? Curses, it must be that witch Susanna. Mouse cursor, sorry. David felt something cold touching his face, but his entire body was burning, and his head felt like it was splitting apart. Hey Anne, good evening. David, hang in there. I told you it's getting weirder and weirder. Susanna was wiping David's head with a towel. Hearing the scream, she was joined by a man and woman shortly after. Mr. Lance, I think he has a fever. He needs medicine. The man hurried downstairs. There's nothing wrong with him. But all of a sudden, he has a fever. Could it be a spell? Miss Emily, please bring me some Chamonix. Chamonix, the sorceress water? Does that mean that Mr. David is... Yes, I'll fetch it right away. Emily went downstairs just as Mr. Lands made his return. Glad I bought this medicine kit, thinking you might stay here for a while. Yeah, this should bring his fever down. Susanna tried giving David his medicine, but he was gritting his teeth from the pain and wouldn't take it. Emily returned gasping for breath. She brought a small bottle filled with liquid. Susanna, are these symptoms? This is the Chamonix water your mother made. It's a little old, but it was kept safely in the basement's medicine cabinet. Susanna poured water from the bottle onto a towel, and she began to wipe David's body. David's pain seemed to ease up. He opened his mouth, gasping for air, and that's when we shoved pills in his mouth. I think he's safe now. David must have been hit by a northern spell. I agree. Chamonix water is only so effective against northern sorcery. We need to find out the identity of the King of the North before they try to kill him again. Yeah, so at this point we haven't actually even properly researched the... No, we don't find out about the King of the North from other people at this point, unlike the other branch. The Dark Sorcerers are gathering tonight, but they found no information about the King of the North. I'm afraid we won't be able to find him for the time being. No, that's repeating. I still hope. The client of those detectives who've been following me should be of the northern tribes. If we can catch them and interrogate them, we may be able to find some clues. David called out Susanna's name as he gasped for air. Susanna hurried to his side as he was regaining consciousness. Susanna, I'm alive. David, you're awake. Oh, I'm so glad. I had another nightmare. The King of the North was there. I thought I'd die for real this time. The King? David, you saw the King of the North? He was a fat bugger. Yeah, and I hope I never see him again. I'll never forget his face. He tried to kill me with a spell. The King of the North himself can use magic? We never knew about that. So the King of this North of this era is a sorcerer. If he truly is a sorcerer, he'd never show himself openly. Still, he should have other mages under his command. We must find one of them. They probably call themselves the Mages of the North. We should focus our searches on the most famous mages of England. Susanna, who are these people? Oh, we haven't been introduced. Oh, haven't introduced him yet. These are Mr. and Mrs. Lands. They're out for groceries when we arrived. My name is David. Sorry to have caused you this much trouble. After exchanging greetings, David felt tired once again and closed his eyes, quickly falling asleep. Susanna lit a candle. The sun went down and it was dark outside. Mr. and Mrs. Lands left the room, but Susanna stayed with David. It was a dark night and there was no illumination in the wilderness. A few stars in the sky cast the shadow of the castle on the ground, where Clark and Vince were lurking. Are you really going inside the castle, Chief? This is trespassing, you know. These two. It's only trespassing if you're caught. 3 cars went inside the castle. Don't you want to know what's going on? Well, yeah, I guess. One thing's for sure, it's not a Lino vision. I saw a middle-aged couple. Definitely not part of David's music circle. There's no electricity, so it's only oil lamps and candles in there. At the very least, they won't be able to see my face clearly. The client told us not to go inside though. There's definitely something bad going on, and you heard what our colleagues said about them. Think about it, the client is a fortune teller and they're willing to spend a ton of money on this investigation. That means there's a mastermind behind this. We've come this far, I'm going in there. You stay here and wait for me. Terrible idea. Wait here, alone in the dark? No way, I'd rather come with you. But let's not go in too deep. The castle gates were not locked, so Clark and Vince could enter without issue. Candles were lit all over the corridor walls, so they did not need to turn on their flashlights. There's no candles in the other corridors. Maybe this is where they went through. There's only one common room. No point in lighting candles if you're not going that way. I've seen this door before. Clark and Vince turned right, then left. Right, then left. Eventually they reached a closed door. I don't think there's anyone inside. Let's open it. Be ready to run in case there's someone in there. Gonna get bonked on the head, aren't you? Clark pushed the door gently. It was not locked, but it made a loud creaking noise. I think it leads to the basement. The candles are lit, so someone's been down there. Let's go. Clark and Vince followed the stairs down. The basement was large, filled with objects. At the end of the path they could see a door, illuminated by candles. Yeah, sure, go to the basement where you can be trapped. Not entirely bright, are they? I mean, we've done it already in the previous branch, and shit happened there as well. Clark stopped in front of the door. He took a deep breath, then he opened it cautiously. Beyond the door was a dark room, but with a single lit candle. Clark made his way inside. Right then, Clark and Vince were hit on the head with a stick. They fell to the floor. Bonk! Get bonked. Meanwhile, David had been nursed back by Susanna. As they sat by a lit candle, they talked about the King of the North. King of the North! I'm really glad you're feeling better now. I had no idea the King of the North could use magic. Can a spell truly kill a man? I definitely was in pain, but I thought it was just another one of my nightmares. Some spells are similar to hypnosis, but they can be cast on someone from a distance. They require great concentration, so the King of the North must be spent right now. I was having already too many nightmares due to the blood of King Hroth. I'm not sure I can take it if the King of the North is going to give me nightmares as well. If it's impossible to run away from it, maybe you should become the Devil King after all. Yes, Susanna, you're trying your best to make him the Devil King, aren't you? Sus, Anna. That would mean killing people from the northern tribes. That would make me a murderer. I'd have to spend the rest of my life on the run from the police. Pussy. Calm down, David. Being agitated isn't good for your health. Right then, Emily came into the room. She approached Susanna and whispered into her ear. The sorcerers, friends of my mother, have gathered. David, come with us. You can talk to them. You may be able to learn something about the power of magic. I'll come since you asked, but I'm not sure I'd like to become a sorcerer. No, we're not asking you to become one. I'm only an apprentice, but if you become the Devil King, you'd be the leader of all dark sorcerers. Don't let the name fool you. They're all good people. They just use dark magics. Susanna held David's hand and led him downstairs. They walked through a dark corridor, lit only by candles, and reached the basement. They like tanning. As soon as they walked through the door, 4 men and 1 woman bowed to David. They were not greeting him as the lead vocalist of Vision, but as the Devil King. Susanna approached the table, placed in the middle of the room, and the sorcerers gathered around it. Sorcerers. David, this is Thomas Simon. This is his wife, Lisa. These 2 are Burrows and Rivas. And this is Greg. Each one of them has earned the title of Dark Sorcerer. My name is David. I'm sorry you had to come all this way here just for me. Oop. There we go. Right. For some reason it didn't let me select that one, which was weird. The Dark Sorcerers live to assist the Devil King. Don't worry about it, David. Now let the meeting begin. Just quickly save it here, just in case. This is like just an intermediary save though. David, do you recognize the man in this picture? Have you seen him in one of your dreams? David looked at the photo. He had never seen him before. Who the hell is that guy? This is the man who hired those detectives to follow you and your colleagues during your tour of Europe. It's a marble house. You've only missed about an hour, but it's not that much. Mr. Lands told us about how the King of the North cast a terrible spell upon you. How did that happen? Where did he come from? Well, in my nightmare, the castle was surrounded by armed peasants yelling at me to leave, and then the King of the North appeared in my room. He must have sent you that nightmare himself in order to appear before you and cast his spell, so the nightmare warding ring was ineffective against the King of the North. What if next time he sends another nightmare, we also enter the dream world and fight him? Can we even do that? Are we powerful enough? There's no guarantee we can defeat him with our magic. If we were to lose, David's life would be forfeit. The King of the North sent a nightmare, entered it, and cast a spell from within. None of us are capable of a similar feat, that is, unless David were to become the Devil King. Our only choice is to find the King of the North and kill him with our weapons. First, we must interrogate those detectives we captured, and find out where their client is. They've been captured? Have they said the name of their client? They wouldn't say, not even with a truth serum. They could be descendants of the northern tribes. Our only choice is to borrow the power of the Devil King and cast a spell to find out. I'm no sorcerer, I can't cast any spells. I've only ever had nightmares and visions. Susanna, help me out here. It'll be fine. Greg, bring them here. Greg approached the wardrobe in the corner of the room and opened its door. What are they doing in the wardrobe? Welcome back, Anne. He pulled out Clark and Vince, whose hands were tied behind their backs, and brought them over. I had a feeling it would be you lot. Why won't you tell us the name of your client? This is a matter of life and death for us. Is this how you repay us for saving your asses? A detective never reveals the name of his client. I'm a professional! I'm willing to kill you to find out. We could easily find out using the powers of the Devil King, but that would leave you crippled for life. Devil King, huh? I've been hearing that name a lot, but we still don't know who that is. How about you introduce us? I'm telling you, we know nothing about this King of the North, or the Devil King business. Chief, I think she's serious. I don't want the Devil King to curse me. I don't know anything about them, but you know the client. Just tell them. Shut the hell up, I never betray a client. It's a matter of pride. Go ahead and kill me if you want, and don't bother with truth serums, I'm trained to resist them. David, we need your help. Please drink this. It's a sleeping medicine. Once your blood has been quelled, I'll use a spell to draw the power of the Devil King and get everything we need to know from them. You mean you can use magic? Susanna, did you get close to me because of the blood that flows in my veins? No, I got close to you because I love you. I've had dreams about you ever since I was born. I've loved you all my life. The only reason I've been hiding the truth was to protect you from the King of the North. Besides, what if I told you about the Devil King during our first meeting? You would have thought I was crazy and stayed away from me. Please, you have to trust me. Drink this. In truth, David was not particularly surprised by the revelation. It was true that if not for Susanna, he would have been killed by the King of the North, or possibly sent to a psychiatric ward. However, he knew that using the spell to force the truth out of the detectives would cripple them, or kill them outright. They're part of the northern tribes. King Hroth said that the sight of their blood would awaken the Devil King. You wouldn't have to fear the King of the North any longer. David believed Susanna's words, but the idea of killing the detectives made him hesitate. Branch! Right, so that's going on slot 2. Good. Right, so we've got a choice here. Shall we kill them just to see what happens? Yeah, let's kill them and see what happens. I'm very curious about this. He decided to take Susanna's pills. Yay, murder! Let's kill them and see what happens. Just like the other branch, I get the feeling that being passive actually extends the playthrough, but leads to slightly less fulfilling endings. But we'll see what happens in this case, where we actually take the more direct route first. Yeah, so it's just gonna load everything up from the disk, so give it a second. We caught the detectives, and now we're gonna try and interrogate them using the blood of the Devil King. But to do that, we have to cast a spell on them, and that might involve murder. So we're taking the murder route first to see what happens. Which should be pretty interesting, at least. Yeah, casual murder is okay, yeah. We endorse casual murder here. Yeah, so at least we've got the save state for this particular branch now, so we can actually see where this entire story arc goes. But yeah, this is the direct route in the story. Just like in the previous branch, the direct route was fighting the King of the North head on by going to his cathedral instead of running away to Hayworth. Here we go. Ding ding ding. Clark and Vince gasped as David took the pills. Chief, they're actually doing the sorcery stuff. What's going to happen to us? It's just hypnosis. When they chant their spells, think of something else and you'll be fine. Hypnosis is especially effective when you're scared. At any rate, you don't actually know anything. You'll be fine. Under the effects of the pills, David's consciousness faded. Then Susanna turned to Clark and Vince. We're ready to summon the power of the Devil King. You will die the moment I chant the spell. Are you going to tell us about your client or not? You think I'm going to fall for this bullshit? Go ahead and do your magic trick, see if I care. Susanna turned towards David and started chanting the spell. Vince covered his ears. Then David opened his eyes, staring at Clark and Vince. Susanna was still chanting. Ah, my body! It burns! My hands, my legs, I can't move! Look at that face. That's a quality face, hold on. I like these faces. I'd love to know where they got some of these pictures from. What the hell? This isn't hypnosis. Vince, run! Ah, it burns! Clark, what is the client's name? You will tell us his address. The Devil King orders you. I'll never tell. What kind of detective would I be if I told you John Jeff's name? So you just did. You just told him. What does Jeff's do? Where is he? I'm burning help. I don't know Jeff's a fortune teller. I can't tell you that he works in the back of the Gucci store on Bond Street. Keck. I don't know anything. Help! Blood! Blood on my hands! My face! It won't stop pouring out. I'll tell you everything I know. Just make it stop! Well, it worked, didn't it? He's dead though, clearly. My blood's gushing out. Help! I'll tell you about the client, please! Well, you're dead. You should have told them earlier. Also, Clark screaming out loud. The clothes of Clark and Vince were soaked red. Blood was overflowing from their shoes, spilling onto the floor. Rip. As the blood flowed from the top of their heads, they looked like red ogres of folklore. They turned to one another and collapsed, writhing in agony. Clark and Vince were literally drowning in a pool of their own blood. Eventually, not even a drop of blood was left in their veins. In death, they had found the relief they longed for. Excluding Susanna and the unconscious David, the other sorcerers in the room had retreated into a corner, terrified. They're dead. What frightens you so? You can't call yourself dark sorcerers and be afraid of a little blood. Susanna scolded Mr. and Mrs. Lance. Then she turned to David and chanted a spell to wake him up. David, look at the floor. Your power has drained the blood out of them. If they are with the northern tribes, the sight of their blood will awaken the power of the Devil King. David nodded and turned towards the floor. Ah, they're dead! Who could do such a terrible thing? You did. When he realized that everyone was staring at him, he began to scream in a panic. You mean to say that I did it? There's no way. I'd never kill someone. I'd never do something so terrible. This is but a small portion of the power that lies dormant in your blood. If you tapped into the full power of the Devil King, you could change the world. I don't want it. I never wanted this horrible power. It's too late, David. Now that you've seen the blood of the northern tribes, the power of the Devil King will manifest itself. Then, you'll be able to kill the King of the North. I'd rather he kill me than become a murderer. Please don't make me kill other people. Susanna, you knew this would happen. That's why you gave me those pills. You said you loved me, but all you really wanted was the power of the Devil King, didn't you? I'm a murderer. You tricked me into becoming one. What am I going to do now? What am I? Ah! David screamed, clutching his head before dropping to the floor, motionless. Finally realized, yet. The sight of the two corpses in a pool of blood was too much for him. He had a mental breakdown and fainted. He's not used to these sights like we are. It must have been too much for him. Please bring him to my room. He hasn't recovered from the King of the North spell. He'll feel better after a good night's sleep. By then, the power of the Devil King will have manifested itself. What do we do about that client, this Jeffs? He must know about the King of the North. He probably knows about me as well as Mr. and Mrs. Lance. We'll stay here while the rest of you go capture him. He might run away once he realizes he can't get in contact with the detectives. We must go now. Take care of David while we're gone. Will do. I'll keep watch from the roof with a rifle. I won't let anyone approach before you're back. Excuse me. Greg and the others left in a car. A magic rifle? Yeah, probably. Helped by Lance, Susanna brought David back to her room. They laid him on the bed and he immediately fell asleep. David was sleeping like a corpse. Brilliant choice of words. Mr. and Mrs. Lance went home to prepare for their god duty. Susanna also left the room. She was gathering the tools she needed to cast a spell that would protect David from the King of the North. After a while, David came to his senses. He was alone in the room. He looked around. The room was illuminated by candles. This is Susanna's room, so I was sleeping. But what about those corpses? Was it another nightmare? Susanna's a dark sorceress. She killed them to revive the blood of the Devil King in my veins. Those two detectives and their clients are northern tribesmen. Nightmare or not, something's about to happen. I must talk to Susanna. If she really is a dark sorceress, then... David felt uneasy about seeing Susanna. The nightmare caused him to feel different about her. He lit a lamp and walked out of the room. He had not learned the layout of the castle yet. He went downstairs, entering the dining room. Candles in the dining room were lit, but Susanna was not there. He returned to the corridor. For some reason he recalled his nightmare. In my dream at the end of the corridor there was another path to the right. As if to confirm whether it was merely a dream, David walked down the corridor. Then he saw a light coming from his right. The moment he turned right, he felt as if he was back in his nightmare. Candles were lit along the walls. At the end of the corridor was a door. The same door he saw in his nightmare. In my nightmare, beyond that door, there were stairs that led to the basement. Am I still dreaming? David ran down the corridor and stopped in front of the door. Then he opened it. As he feared, there were stairs that led to a basement, lit by candles. Is this where he gets bonked on the head as well? Everyone getting bonked on the head in the basement. David walked down the stairs. When he reached the door, he stopped to think. If this is like my nightmare, beyond this door would be two men lying in a pool of blood. Susanna and the sorcerers. David was afraid to open the door. He would rather go back, but something compelled him to see the truth with his own eyes. Ooh, another branch. Hold on. Yes. I'll stick that on slot. This one with the sweat drop. I'll do fine. Right, so let's open the door and see what happens in this case. And then, if it leads to an ending, we'll do the other one as well. He decided to open the door. He opened the door. Excuse me. Ah! Short scream. That's David screaming short, not wav. It was just like his nightmare. The floor was covered in blood, which was wetting David's feet. At the center of the grisly pool were the corpses of two men. Unlike his nightmare, neither Susanna nor the sorcerers were present. Instead, there was a young man standing beside the corpses. David, these two people you killed were not northern tribesmen. The Devil King must witness the blood of the northern tribes. Who is he? David thought. He knows about the northern tribes. Could he be the Devil King? Are you a dark sorcerer? Or are you the Devil King? Me? The Devil King? Surely you must know he lurks in your veins, waiting to witness the blood of the northern tribes. What are you afraid of? How could you cry out at the mere sight of commoners' blood? That happened in a dream, David thought. Nobody else should know about it, so this must be another dream. This is a dream, isn't it? There's only two men who always torment me in my dreams. The King of the North and the Devil King. If you're not the Devil King, then you must be the King of the North. I am not the King of the North either. You're trying to convince yourself you're inside a nightmare because you have killed two men, but I assure you, this is reality. Touch those corpses, taste their blood, face the truth. Who are you? Show yourself! Can you not tell? I am the man who longs to acquire the power of the Devil King in order to kill the King of the North and live happy ever after with Susanna. I am David. You are David? Quit screwing around. Susanna loves me. And I love her. Why do you want to make her happy? Do you really love her as you claim you do? You do not feel love for Susanna the sorceress, but I am you. I am the David who can love Susanna unconditionally. The man turns towards David. David looked at the man's face. He tried to speak, but no words would leave his mouth. That is because the man's face was the same face he always saw in the mirror. I am David. Unless the pathetic, cowardly David disappears, Alino Vision is going to disband. If you're David, then who am I? You are David, and I am David. The only difference is that I will never stop loving Susanna, while your love for her is dying down. The other David approached him, holding a knife. David was terrified by his other self. He tried to run away, but his legs would not move. The other David raised the knife. David screaming got loud. Paralyzed by fear, David closed his eyes and screamed. Then he heard Susanna's voice, coming from far away. Susanna, help me! David, wake up! David felt his body being shaken and opened his eyes. It was Susanna. I'm in bed, David thought. It was another dream. No, it's not. Yes, it is. There's nothing to fear now, David. We did what we had to do to survive. He did not understand the meaning of Susanna's words. What do you mean by what we had to do? We killed the two detectives. We had no other choice if we wanted to awaken the power of the Devil King. So it wasn't a nightmare. But Susanna, those two were not Northern tribesmen. What? They weren't? It's gonna be alright. Greg and the others captured their client, Jeffs. He's in the basement. He is definitely a Northern tribesman. Come on, let's go see him. Then kill him too. Don't tell me that you want to kill him as well. I don't want to kill anyone else. Susanna, let's run away together. We could go to Japan. Surely the King of the North can't reach us there. Naive. No, he'd never stop hunting us. We need to kill him. If we miss this chance, our children would never be safe. I saw it in my dream. The Devil King will kill me and reincarnate as another David. How could you try to revive him knowing that I'll be gone? You saw it in a dream? My mother never said anything about that. When the blood of the Devil King is revived, you will obtain his power. That's it. Now come. No, I won't. I don't want to be a murderer. Besides, if I see the blood of the Northern tribesmen, I'll become the Devil King. I'll stop being me. Pussy. Just do it. You're coming with me, David. They're all waiting for you. Susanna pulled David out of the room. The corridor was bright, as if the night had passed. Why do you want me to kill people, Susanna? You never loved me, did you? You only ever wanted the power of the Devil King. I'm not coming with you. David shook Susanna off and fled in the direction opposite to the basement. He heard Susanna calling out to him, but she did not seem to be following him. Why does that look like the London Underground? Anyway, David ran down the hallway. He kept running, trying to reach the wall that he could see ahead. However, he was not getting any closer to it, as if he was simply stomping his feet on the spot. He was getting tired. He stopped running and looked back. Nobody was chasing him. He made his way back and stopped, dumbfounded. The wall he had been trying so hard to reach was right in front of him. There was a door in it. David pushed the door without hesitation. With a creaking noise, it opened. When he saw the room, he was left speechless. It was the same room he had been sleeping in. Every item, every piece of furniture was in the same place. Even his own luggage was there. As if sleepwalking, he made his way inside. When I left the room, Susanna didn't chase me, David thought. Maybe I'm under the effects of a hypnotic spell. I ran so much, but I'm back where I started. David felt a presence and turned towards the entrance. It was dark outside the room, with only candles breaking the darkness. Oh, so good. Suddenly a bolt of lightning lit up the corridor, a sound so loud that it felt like the heavens themselves had split. Then there was a figure in front of the entrance. Green shot! David, I have come for you. Come with me to the basement and witness the blood of that man. As the lightnings kept flashing, David was able to see the face of the man. It was the other David, the one he met in the basement. If you're the real David, why don't you go to the basement? Why do I have to go? Because there should not be two Davids. Only by witnessing the blood of the northern tribes will we become one. If you will not do so, then you must vanish. His other self approached him, brandishing a knife. David tried to dodge the knife, but its aim was true. It pierced his heart. David screaming, .wav. There you go. David's scream echoed throughout the room. This branch is pretty good because David screaming .wav is played quite often. It's always a knife in dreams though. You don't shoot people. Knives are slow. Does he wake up though, I think, at this point? David heavy breathing, .wav. We'll probably find out in a minute. Then he opened his eyes. It was another nightmare, David thought. Is this reality? Or am I still dreaming? Excuse me. Oh. I probably shouldn't be drinking orange juice when I'm narrating for like several hours at once. Fucking the acid makes my throat itchy. He was losing his mind thinking about it. He decided to lie on the bed and close his eyes, trying to calm down. You're gonna have to do something, David. You are trying to kill one of my tribesmen. My curse may have failed, but now that I'm here, I shall run my sword through your heart. The King of the North appeared in his room. He approached David, brandishing his sword. David stood up, looking for a chance to flee. When the King of the North had lowered his guard, he made his move. But then he heard King Hroth's voice inside his head. You cannot defy fate, David. If you wish to defeat the King of the North, you must witness the blood of the northern tribes. Without the powers of the Devil King, the King of the North will kill you. The one who stands before you is but a shadow. Focus your eyes on the sword and he will not be able to kill you. Go to the basement. Susanna is waiting for you. Hurry! The King of the North aimed his sword at David's chest. At the last moment, he was able to dodge the strike, then he tackled his assailant. He had expected some kind of impact, but the King of the North must have been an illusion. He passed through him, tumbling into the corridor. In a frenzy, he hurried down the stairs. Fearing that the sword could pierce his back at any moment, he kept running down the corridor. At the end, he turned right and reached the door at the end, where he stopped. It's the door that leads to the basement, David thought. Did the Devil King leave me here? No, I can't open it. When he turned around intent on going back, he saw a knife before his eyes. You have come this far, why turn back? You must go to the basement, David. Do it or I will kill you. Key required. David shook off the knife, pushing himself away and ran away. He could think of nothing else. He had to run. Pussy. As he approached the dining room, he saw the King of the North, sword in hand, coming down the stairs. He's being chased by himself and by the King of the North. And so David ran. He ran. He kept running. He eventually reached the door that led to the courtyard. He opened the door and jumped outside without even stopping to look. Dun, 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 dun. Run, Forrest, run! Unfortunately, enter combat is not an option at this point for David. It was dark outside the castle, stars dotting the sky. David looked around and his heart almost gave out from the shock. This isn't the garden, he thought. It's the same town from my nightmares. Either I'm dreaming or this is an illusion created by magic. On the verge of a mental breakdown, David screamed at the empty town. As if to respond to his cry, a terrifying, murderous intent swept over him. David was shivering, as if he had been bathed in cold water. He could not stop there. He had to keep running through the town, before the source of that bloodlust reached him. He knew the way, as he had been in this town multiple times in his nightmares. If I go this way, the path turns to the left, and it should go downhill. Then if I turn right and take the next left downhill, I should get to a road where you can see the castle. If it's like my nightmares, I should be able to reach the castle. The castle. Come to think of it, it was very similar to Susanna's castle. That's because it was. Forgetting about the threat hunting him, David ran through the town from his memories. Looking for a Starbucks. Then across the wilderness he could see the castle in the distance. Was the castle from my nightmares Susanna's castle? Was I fated to come here? The moment he stepped into the wilderness, David felt dizzy. When he opened his eyes, David was standing in front of Susanna's room. He'd been transported from the wilderness to the castle in an instant. Weird shit's happening at the moment, isn't it? He opened the door and he found Susanna there. I've been waiting for you, David. Come on, we have to go to the basement. Everyone's worried because you've been taking so long. Hurry, David, you must witness the blood of that man before the Star of Darkness leaves the planet. Susanna grasped his hand tightly. Enough of this, I don't want to kill anyone. Too late. We've already done it for you. All of a sudden, the other David appeared at his side. Susanna, there is no choice. We must kill the other David. There cannot be two Davids. The other David approached him, brandishing a knife. Let go of me, Susanna. I must run. If I don't run, he's going to kill me. David tried to pry Susanna's fingers open, but they were stiff as iron and would not budge. You're about to get shanky shanked. The other David raised the knife. David screaming, don't laugh. Of course it's a nightmare. I think we're getting fucking dreamception here though, because we don't know what's real and not. Before he could feel any pain, everything went dark. Did he faint before the knife struck him? Was he falling into an abyss of pure darkness? David was lying in a hospital bed. Susanna was at his side. Oh, I think I know this ending. Tell me, doctor, will he get any better? Susanna was talking to a doctor from the mental hospital David had been recovering in. She had been taking care of him all this time. He said he's been dreaming for a month now. What's going to happen to him? As you can see from this EEG, his brain activity is abnormal. See how many ripples there are? His brainwaves are in complete disarray. This is the kind of pattern caused by fear, a nightmare perhaps, but normally the shock would wake you up instantly. It's as if he secluded himself in the dream world in order to escape from reality. Sometimes celebrities can't cope with their popularity. Maybe he just wants to be alone. Though those violent brainwaves are not desirable, the silver lining is that even in the worst case scenario, he won't fall into a vegetative state. Doctor, is he able to hear me while he sleeps? While his EEG is calm, he is sound asleep and he won't be able to hear you. He should be able to hear you when his brainwaves are spiking. I must inform you, however, that it will only be a fleeting memory to him. I understand how you feel, Miss Susanna, but please take care of yourself as well. This kind of condition requires a lot of time and patience. With that, the doctor left. Alone with David, Susanna moved closer to his ear and spoke to him, caressing her belly. David, our baby's growing well. Please wake up soon. I want the three of us to live together. David did not react, but Susanna felt like she heard a voice. And so, my bloodline shall carry over. Well done, Susanna. I shall return to the Star of Darkness and rest. I look forward to my return 300 years from now. It's the voice of King Hroth. Once he returns to the Star of Darkness, David will wake up, I'm sure of it. Excited for David's imminent awakening, Susanna started replying to the pile of letters the fans sent David during his stay at the hospital. That's an ending. Pretty weird one at that, though. I wonder what actually happened between him and the other David. Probably the other David stabbed him or whatever. Anyway, give me 1 second. Right. Okay, so that's ending number 4, I believe. I'm just waiting for everything to be written on. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that was, yeah, one of the endings on this branch. We still have a couple of save states to use up, though, so let's do that now. We're gonna go to the other side, though. Not the other side, the other part of the branch. Right, put that in there. Put that in there. Let's load save game, and let's load in from this save state. Yeah. Oops. Just need to write the scenario to disk as well. Yeah, because we have the choice where we can either open the door or we can go back and see Susanna. So I think at this point we want to see what happens when we go back and see Susanna after getting to the door to the basement. And then after that we have the branch from even before that where we have the option to either take the pills or don't take the pills when we're interrogating the the two detectives, which I think should lead to other endings as well. Hopefully we can get through most of these. I mean, 1 hour 45 to do the first set of branches. That's not too bad. Eat the pills! Yeah, we're going to eat lots and lots of pills. Pills all day. Pills, 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 pills. Pillsy, pillsy, pills. Claire Reach. Pills here! Slime beast. Oh dear. Dee 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 dee. Yeah, so this side of the branch is actually considerably weirder than the one that we played yesterday. Actually, so there's a lot more of the magical stuff going on in this one by the look of it. And I think there's probably a logical conclusion in one of these branches, at least to the story, like the true end, you could say. It's just we need to figure it out which one it is. Right, so I'm going to skip through some of this text until we get to the door. Yeah, so at this point we've just been sleeping like a corpse. Susanna disappears, and we get up and we go downstairs to the doorway. No point in narrating half of this. Yeah, it's pretty interesting as well when you play through games like this and you actually actively explore all the primary branches, that you can actually get a much better sense of the story as well. Just like Uno, I would think. How you could like time travel backwards and like experience the story from different perspectives. I love that game. God. It's so good. Alright. So we're about to head downstairs. Alright, so at this point we're gonna get to the basement doorway, but we're gonna turn right around and speak to Susanna instead. Here we are. Right. You opened it. As if you feared. There were stairs that led to a basement lit by candles. Walk down the stairs. When you reached the door, you stopped to think. If this is like my nightmare, beyond this door would be 2 men lying in a pool of blood. Susanna and the sorcerers. David was afraid to open the door. He would rather go back, but something compelled him to see the truth with his own eyes. Decided to return to the room and wait for Susanna. Yeah, so it's gonna read from the drive here. Yeah, thankfully the game gives you about 9 or 10 save slots as well if you want to explore all the branches, but I think there's only like 3 or 4 major choices that you have to make in each one. It's not like some of the more complicated, text adventures where you actually have to go through a lot of different options. This game is like super streamlined in comparison to a lot of those ones. Like you only ever have to make like 2 choices, maybe 3 at maximum. Where in some games you actually have to go through an entire list of options in order to progress the game, like see, speak, touch, take, things like that. Think, yes. Some of those games can be super complicated as well, especially if they don't remove the options from the list once you've exhausted all of them. I think it was Armist, if I remember correctly, which was quite easy to remember. How are you sending me, G? God. Of course you'd be playing that. Speak, touch, think, take pills? Yep, exactly. Yeah, but there's a lot of games that don't actually remove the options once you've exhausted their list. So it can be very difficult and quite long and arduous to play those ones because you actually have to keep track of what options you've been clicking on. But for the most part, this game's actually been very quick and streamlined as a result because you only ever have to, pick from dialogue choices. And there's only been 1 or 2 instances where you've had 3 choices to make, and one of them's usually the obvious one anyway because it's the new one that pops up in the list. David decided to go back. He was afraid that his nightmare might become reality if he entered the basement. Visual novels are somewhat complicated in some cases as well. I mean, there's ones like... Isn't Dokkyusei very complicated in a way? I think it largely depends. But this is certainly one of the more streamlined stories that we've played so far, though. It's good that way, actually. I like it when it's streamlined. It means that you have less to worry about and you can just get involved in the story more, rather than having to pixel hunt by clicking around the screen for a lot of things. He left in a hurry, as if to run away from the door, and made his way to the door that led to the courtyard. Yeah, interactive movie would have been a much closer way of describing it, I think. This might be the sorcerer's castle I saw in my nightmares, David thought. If Susanna is a sorceress like in my nightmares, she'll try and make me a murderer. Sorry, Susanna, but I must leave. David opened the door and stepped out into the courtyard. Yeah, so in this case he didn't actually go back to wait for Susanna. Stars dotted the sky. It was as bright as a full moon night. And David walked out of the castle gates and ran down the starlit road. Excuse me. Out in the wilderness there were no landmarks. He had no idea how far he had run. Still, he had to keep going, as long as he could breathe. By the time the castle was a small silhouette in the distance, he heard the sound of a car's engine. And then he got hit by a car. Then he saw headlights flickering in the wilderness. It's heading for the castle. Is it the sorcerers? Or is it the northern tribesmen? Probably the northern tribesmen. David looked for a place to hide, but there were no trees in sight. He could only run across the prairie, getting as far away from the road as possible. The sound of the car's exhaust was getting closer. The grass around his feet was illuminated by headlights, and he could see his shadow in front of him. The car slowed down behind him. Moron. He could do nothing else. He stopped running and the car stopped as well. A person got out of the car and approached him. It was a man. When he saw him, David started sweating. He looks just like the man I saw in my nightmare. When they showed me a photo of the detective's client, David thought, is he Jeff's? Why was he going to Susanna's castle? You missed a lot of davidscreams.wav. Once he came closer, he had no more doubts. Jeffs glared at David with a look of suspicion. I was wondering what kind of fool would run around alone late in the night, and it turned out to be David himself. What are you doing here? Who are you? Jeffs. I lost contact with the detectives I sent to investigate you, so I came here myself. I certainly wasn't expecting to find you out here. I'm a northern sorcerer at the service of the King of the North. The Devil King and the Dark Sorcerers are the sworn enemies of the northern tribes. You must die before the blood that flows in your veins is awakened. I don't want to fight the northern tribes, that's why I ran away. Let's stop fighting. I don't care about this ancient history. Do you think the Devil King would abandon his quest for revenge just because you want nothing to do with it? Don't make me laugh. What's up, G? My name's Jeff. Hi, Jeff. You're all insane. You, Susanna, everyone. You're a bunch of psychopaths. Just suddenly brandishing a knife. Before David could push Jeffs away, he pulled out a dagger. Drop that thing. If you try to take my life, the power of the Devil King will manifest and you'll die. I'm serious. Ha! You won't scare me like that. I know more about the Devil King than you do. Do not underestimate the Northern Sorcerer. Jeff thrust his dagger towards David. He tried to dodge, but his assailant was skilled. Then he felt a sharp pain and he cried out. There's another one. You could say that? He's certainly losing something at this point. While in agony, he thought he heard Susanna's voice. Susanna, help me! Were you trying to run away from her and now you're asking for your help? Maroon. David, wake up, it's me, Susanna! David opened his eyes. Susanna's face was in front of his. She was holding his hand. Wait, what happened to Jeff's? Why are you asking about him? Greg and the others were on the way to capture him. If everything goes well, they should bring him here tonight. He's back in his room, yeah. He wasn't sure what she was talking about, but then he realized he was lying in bed. What time is it? It's 4 PM. You were sleeping like a log, so I figured I'd let you rest. Did you have a nightmare? What about Mr. Lands? He's on the roof with his wife, keeping an eye out for the northern tribesmen. David, is there something wrong? Does your body hurt? My body feels heavy, weak. I feel like crap. David finally realized that what he just saw was another one of his dreams. I get it now, David thought. After I took those pills, the detectives were killed. If they catch Jeffs, they'll kill him too. That's why I had that nightmare. I thought you'd obtained the powers of the Devil King, but it seems they weren't Northern tribesmen. But Jeffs is one of them, I'm sure of it. His blood will definitely awaken the Devil King. The memory of the two corpses lying in the pool of their own blood made David feel sick. Are you alright? You must be weak because you haven't had anything to eat yet. I'll go fetch something for you. Wait for me, okay? Once Susanna left the room, David thought once again about the two dead men in the basement. Even though I didn't kill them directly, I feel responsible. If it were to cause more deaths, my heart wouldn't take it. But I can't leave the castle either. I can't face the Northern tribesmen alone. Greg will come back with Jeff sooner or later. What am I going to do then? Do the thing that you must do. David wanted to cry. He curled up into a ball under the covers, but then the voice of King Hroth spoke to him. David, why do you worry? You must simply follow your destiny. Once you obtain the powers of the Devil King, all your worry shall disappear. Can't you see the pain in my heart? It's because I'm following this destiny that I'm suffering like this. Susanna and the Dark Sorcerers are ready to give their lives to protect you, and yet you only worry about yourself. If you fail to defeat the King of the North, the Northern tribesmen will kill them all. They will kill Susanna. Susanna, the woman who chose to become a sorceress out of love for you. Are you willing to throw her feelings away out of fear? Are you not ashamed of your cowardice, David? If you cannot run away from your destiny, you should run headlong towards it. Lead the fight against the King of the North. Maybe I was wrong, David thought. Maybe I was only worrying about myself. If I'm destined to kill, then I should ready myself rather than curl up into a ball and cry. David made up his mind and his worries disappeared. His frustration was quelled and he was finally calm. King Hroth, I'm going to realize your ancient wish. If it makes Susanna happy, I'll annihilate the northern tribes, become the Devil King, and sever the blood of the King of the North. After his proclamation, David felt himself filled with the same power and confidence he had during his concerts. King of the North! It's better. This game's so good. Every branch is interesting, which is what makes this game so good. His mind made up, David jumped out of the bed. In the dark room, the candles flickered. What's the matter, David? You literally jumped out of the bed. Did you have another nightmare? David thought his conversation with King Proth had lasted only a few minutes, but looking outside the windows he noticed it was night. You fell asleep while I was cooking. What did you dream about this time? I was scolded by King Proth, and now I see everything clearly. I feel that by fighting against my fate, I'd only end up hurting you. If I'm destined to kill, then so be it. Are you sure you won't regret it? I won't. The moment I accepted my destiny, I started feeling the same way I felt during a concert. Strong. Confident. Drugged up. I'm happy to hear that. Greg and the others are waiting for us in the basement. Greg, you say? Oh, they must have brought Jeff's. What time is it? It's 10 PM. Are you sure you'll be fine? Jeff's is a northern sorcerer. A moment of weakness and you could die. You have to trust me, Susanna. Don't ask me to run away now. I'm sorry. Silly me having doubts just now that your mind's made up. Kill! Kill, 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 kill. David and Susanna went down to the basement. Is that Jeff's? Inside the room was Jeff's, his hands tied behind his back, surrounded by Greg and the other dark sorcerers. When he saw his face, David thought back to his dream. He looks identical, he thought. This is the first time I meet him in person, but he's just like the man I saw in my dream. How is that possible? Jeff stared at David in disbelief. How are you alive? I'm sure the dagger pierced your heart. So that was real then. So you were behind that nightmare. Susanna, he's a sorcerer. In fact, I think his sorcery is second only to the King of the North himself. Indeed, I am a northern sorcerer. The fact that you survived my incubus curse can only mean that you manifested the power of the Devil King. If only I had confirmed you carried his blood earlier. No matter, the King of the North will succeed where I've failed. Now tell me, Susanna, why have you brought me here? We want you to tell us the King of the North's whereabouts. We already know you're not going to tell us willingly, so we're going to cast a confession spell. Besides, your spells are too dangerous. We're going to make sure you can never cast them again. That was already taken care of by some guy in Germany. What was his name? Croth. Yeah. Holgar Croth, I think it was. He had a third eye, but as it turns out, he was actually part of the bloodline of the betrayer. So he's already dead. Your spells may have been effective on a pair of detectives, but I am a northern sorcerer. Do you really believe you will succeed? Yeah. You may be a northern sorcerer, but we are the dark sorcerers who have been guarding the bloodline of the Devil King for generations. We will not fail. Take the pills, David. We'll handle the rest. I don't need them anymore, Susanna. I'm confident I can bring out the power of the Devil King just by listening to your incantation. The moment I stop fearing the sight of blood, I've started feeling the power of the Devil King more and more. Sensing his overwhelming energy, Susanna dropped the pills and began chanting her spell. Jeff stared at Susanna and then scoffed at her. What a fool you are, Susanna. You have failed to notice the change within my consciousness. As I thought, you dark sorcerers are nothing but buffoons. David's body was heating up from Susanna's spell. At the same time, he saw the heat engulfing Jeff's. Susanna ignored Jeff's taunts and kept chanting. Even by borrowing David's power, your sorcery amounts to nothing. You'll never be able to control my consciousness. Her forehead was beaded with sweat. She was starting to lose her nerve from her spell's lack of effect. I've had enough. Have a taste of a real spell. Jeff chanted the spell and Susanna's face turned red, as if she'd walked into an oven. Unable to withstand the pain, Susanna stopped chanting. Gasping for air, she glared at Jeff's. Only the King of the North can repel a dark spell. I'm afraid the King of the North is possessing him. You finally realized it. Now put an end to this charade. Blood gushed out of Susanna's face, then from her hands, her feet, she collapsed to the floor. The other dark sorcerers started fleeing in panic, but the spell of the King of the North spared no one. In a matter of seconds, they were all lying on the floor, writhing in a pool of their own blood. Crying in anger, David jumped at Jeffs, choking him. With his hands tied behind his back, he could not resist. His consciousness filled with rage, Dave was seemingly impervious to the King of the North's death curse. His fingers gouged Jeff's throat. Jeff slumped to the floor, unable to speak as life was leaving his body. David stared at Jeff's blood. Then he pointed his blooded hands south, chanting, no, howling a spell. David, now the Devil King, could easily sense the flow of the spell of the King of the North. His counterspell, fueled by vengeance, followed the magical waves back to the source. He chanted the spell with all of his might. His figure overlapped with that of King Proth, a demon obsessed with vengeance. The next day, a large crowd had gathered at St. Radford's Church in Stratford, south of the castle where these events have occurred. They were mourning the death of Archbishop Mellis. We win, game over. A few days later, Alan, Andrew and Martin were talking to the chief physician of the Heath Mary Mental Hospital in the suburbs of London. Give it to us straight, Doctor. Is David ever going to wake up? Mr. David lived through something so traumatic that he was only able to cope by shutting himself in. It would take a shock of similar magnitude to bring him back. At this point, I cannot say when or if he will be able to leave our clinic. Damn it, I can't even imagine what he went through during his vacation. I saw the photos of the scene. It was straight out of a horror movie. If they told me it was a picture of hell, I wouldn't believe it. Knock it off, Alan. I lost 20 pounds since I saw the pictures. If it was me in David's place, I would have died of shock. Reportedly, the police found 2 more bodies in the castle's courtyard. It's a complete mystery, but tell me, what's going to happen to Alinovision? This one. Out of business until we find a new vocalist. But I have a feeling we'll never find someone like David. With that said, Alinovision won't break up as long as David's alive. We'll wait until he wakes up and climbs on the stage again. Oh, hold on. It's repeating. You said it. I'm a fan of his too. I feel if we were to disband, we'd never be able to listen to his songs again. Selecting the wrong one. Feel the same way. Come hell or high water, I want to keep Alinovision alive. Anything to hear David sing again. His rage spent, David lost consciousness and never woke up. Was his mind unable to cope with the mighty powers of the Devil King? Or had the sight of Susanna's gruesome death been too much for his heart? Game over. Yep, so that was ending 2 then. You could call it a good end, although it ended somewhat inconclusively considering David is now completely comatose and not waking up again. Yeah, game over, especially for Sus Anna. I think this is probably going to be credits, isn't it? So yeah, let's reset it from here. This kid. Let's put the drives in. Okay. Let's load up from this save state instead. Yeah. Yes. Right, so if I remember correctly, actually, what was the branch at this point? I'm trying to remember. Oh, it was the one where we either have the choice to take the pills or not. So, in this case, we're not going to take the pills to interrogate the two detectives. But I get the feeling that this is going to end inconclusively as well. We'll see though. This could be very interesting. Yeah, hopefully we don't have to go too far to get to that branch. Here we go. Cool. Yeah, that. As soon as they walk through the door, 4 men and 1 woman bow to David, yada yada yada. Right, so at this point we need to interrogate the 2 detectives. I'm just gonna introduce each other. It's this dude. It's that woman. It's this guy. How do you earn the title of Dark Sorcerer anyway? Yeah, Susanna. Right. Yeah, it's pretty weird how at this point you actually have to click on David's book first before you can actually progress it. Not sure why. Bug in the game, probably. Probably. Both Lord and Dark Sorcerer. With a certificate, yeah. A qualification that says past Dark Sorcerer training. Level 1. Right, so we just need to get to the point where we have a choice on how to interrogate the 2 detectives. Okay, Susanna. Thomas. The power of the Devil King. Cast a spell to find out. Yada 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 yada. Thomas, is it? No. Okay. Oh, sorcerer. Can't cast any spells. Yada yada yada. You need to take the pills and become the Devil King. Yada yada yada. What are they doing in the wardrobe though? Is that the only place they could lock them in? So might as well leave these 2 alive then. Okay. Right, so it should be here. In truth, David was not particularly surprised by the revelation. It was true that if not for Susanna, he would have been killed by the King of the North, or possibly sent to a psychiatric ward, which we've already seen twice already. However, he knew that using the spell to force the truth out of the detectives would cripple them, or even kill them outright. As part of the northern tribes, King Hroth said that the sight of their blood would awaken the Devil King. He wouldn't have to fear the King of the North any longer. David believed Susanna's words, but the idea of killing the detectives made him hesitate. He did not want to be involved in murder. Here we go. Right, so just going to load up the next part of the scenario. Shouldn't take long. Yeah, so at this point, we choose not to kill the two detectives, so something else is going to happen at this point. Let's see what it is. Whee. Excuse me. Right. Yeah, unfortunately it takes a bit of time to read everything off the disc though. Just like the old days, yeah. Takes a frickin' age to run anything off the disc. 1-speed CD-ROM. Plus it writes everything to a floppy disk as well in order for it to play the scenario, because one disc holds like I think text, while the other one holds the character portraits and the scenario data. So it kind of runs both of those concurrently. Plus it actually streams audio data off the disc, so you get like the CDDA music, background music, and the voice effects and stuff. It's actually quite clever how they've done it, and it's pretty good for the system for the time. Obviously, we're used to stuff being a hell of a lot faster than that, but probably imagine that for the era, PC-88 would have been pretty mind-blowing how it actually handled this kind of stuff. The two detectives had saved his life. David could not possibly inflict mortal pain upon them. Yeah, I'm not sure who it is. David, this could be our last chance to find out who their client is. I can't do this, Susanna. These men saved our lives. I can't kill them. The northern tribes may be coming to kill you as we speak. If you were to die, I don't think I could keep going. I've made my choice. Please untie them. Susanna understood that David would not change his mind and asked Greg to untie the two detectives. As Clark and Vince were being untied, David spoke to them. I know you're just doing your job, but your client obviously wants me dead. I want you to promise to stay away from us. That's right, your client is a murderer. I don't care if you're detectives. If you keep associating with them, they're gonna find you, and we're gonna find you and kill you. Oh, I'm so done with him. I'm actually a big fan of David's. I'm terribly sorry our work put you in danger. Please forgive us. Name's Clark. I know you saved our lives and all, but I still can't talk about our client. It's fine. Here, take this. I swear to withdraw from the investigation. I'm a man of my word. Clark took out his notebook and flipped through the pages. Then he wrote something, signed it, and handed the slip of paper to David. Come on, Vince, let's get the hell out of here. And David, see you at your next concert. Clark and Vince hurried out of the room. David looked at the paper Clark gave him and gasped. What? David, what did he write? With a confessional. Suckers. He wouldn't talk about him. but he wrote the client's name and address. Okay, nice. They weren't Northern tribesmen. They were actually your fans. I almost did something terrible. After what happened to you, Everything's fine. At any rate, we know where this man is, and there's no doubt he is with the Northern tribes. Let's go. This time I won't hesitate to take the pills. You go, David! Do your thing. Please wait. They know your faces. If they see you approach, they'll run away. Let us deal with this. We'll capture him and bring him to you. Mr. Lands, you and the others stay here and keep David safe. We must leave now, before they realize something's wrong. Susanna, stay alert. We don't know when the King of the North could attack again. Greg's car drove off at high speed. The headlights faded into the darkness. Oop, hold on. That night, David was fraught with anticipation and anxiousness. He was considering getting drunk to spend the night, but Susanna gave him sleeping pills instead. Yay for the pills! Yay, pills! He's gonna take pills anyway. Let's get all drugged up, shall we? Possibly due to the sleeping pills, David woke up the next morning feeling refreshed. Oh, we actually survived until morning, nice. Susanna, who had been sleeping at his side, was not there. David left the room and went down the stairs. He could smell the fragrance of coffee coming from somewhere. He followed the smell into a large room. Take the pills or take the pills. In the dining room, he found Susanna cooking. Good morning, David. I was going to wake you up once breakfast was ready. Those pills work great as usual. I slept like a baby. Where's everyone? They're on the rooftop with guns, keeping an eye out for Northern Tribes raids. Mr. Land said we needed to hold the fort until Greg is back. I'm sorry to give you all so much trouble. Because of this blood that flows in my veins, we can't even sit together at the table. We're all bound to our fate. We sorcerers are simply following our path. From the moment we're born, we're destined to be different from normal people. So unless I become the Devil King and defeat the King of the North, we... Ugh! David dropped the coffee cup he was holding. He grasped his chest tight and slumped to the floor. Ah, my chest, it feels like someone's pushing a needle through it. Ah! Also, before I forget... because you need that at any point in this. Susanna approached David, touching him in order to help him up. David, what's wrong? Does your chest hurt? Of course it pops up at some point. Ah, don't touch me, it hurts. Someone's pushing a needle through my heart. A needle. It's the King of the North, he's cursing you. David, don't move, I'll be right back. Susanna ran down the corridor that led to the basement. She returned with 4 clear dolls and a heavy book. Susanna drew a compass on the floor, with David at the center, and placed the 4 dolls at each cardinal point. Then she opened the book, and she began to chant the spell. She was chanting loudly towards the wall. Had it been night, the Belmare Comet would be visible in that direction. 4 stone, no eyes. Her forehead was dripping with sweat. Susanna was devoting all of her strength to create a barrier that would protect David from the King of the North's spell. Yeah, basically. Looking David scream, of varying lengths, .wav. David was sickly pale and his eyesight blurry. In his weak state, he did not react as the self-clear figure started glowing red. Sus Anna. Susanna's spell came to an end. Her strength spent, she lost consciousness, collapsing beside David. The pain faded from David's chest. Understanding that the spell of the King of the North had been broken, he reached out for Susanna. Yeah. What are you doing, David? You must slay the northern tribes. The Star of Darkness will leave soon. Why do you hesitate? You have inherited my blood. Do you not crave the power of the Devil King? Do you wish to succumb to the King of the North? I should not have pinned my hopes on someone unwilling to kill the men of the North. I must trust my will to a future generation. If the King of the North kills you, he will grow even more powerful. If you are unwilling to kill the northern tribes, you leave me no choice. I must kill you myself. When David opened his eyes, he saw King Hroth looming over him. I didn't press the button this time, mind. David's body was numb and he could not move. As if roused by his scream, Susanna opened her eyes. David, are you alright? Yeah, thanks to you. I can't believe King Hroth was going to kill me. King Hroth? No, that wasn't him. That must have been a spell of the King of the North. He must have been trying to deceive you. It was after you broke his spell. King Hroth showed up saying he has no use for someone unwilling to kill the northern tribes. He said he was going to pin his hopes on the next generation. I see. He must be angry because there's little time left. He probably wants you to steal your resolve. Everybody wants to kill David, yeah. So I've not one but two powerful kings after my life. Susanna, are you alright? You don't look so well. Susanna forced herself to walk to a chair and sit normally. She did not want David to realize just how tired she was. I'm fine. I think I'll make some more coffee. It took all of David's strength to raise himself up and sit on a chair. David and Susanna were too tired even to chat. They were sitting on their chairs looking at each other, waiting for the exhaustion to pass. After a few hours, the room was getting darker. Susanna had finally regained her composure and talked to David. I've been sitting there for hours, have they? I like how the portrait is dark though. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? I need to turn on the light. Susanna picked up a lamp and turned it on. How do you feel, David? Feel better now, all things considered. I wanted to lie down, but I'm afraid King Hroth will show up again if I fall asleep. Why don't you go get some rest, Susanna? Oop, hold on. Clicked on that by accident. No, I can't do that. What if you're attacked by the King of the North while I'm sleeping? Well, we won't be able to hold out much longer like this. We can't stay awake forever, but who knows what the kings will do if I fall asleep. I'm sick of living like this. At that moment, they could hear the voices of Mr. and Mrs. Lance, who were hurrying their way. Lance threw the door open. Out of breath, he addressed David. Greg is back. They brought Jeffs, I'm sure of it. At the news, they all hurried outside. Time to shanky shank. David joined the others outside the castle. 4 cars pulled into the courtyard. Greg got out of his car and opened the trunk. Inside was Jeffs, the man who had hired Clark and Vince. We got him. Let's bring him to the basement. Emily hurried to light the candles along the hallway. Once in the basement, they woke the unconscious Jeffs with smelling salts. Here we are, Jeffs. You pretend to be a simple fortune teller, but we know you're a sorcerer at the service of the northern tribes. How about you do yourself a favor and answer our questions honestly? Who are you people? Why did you bring me here? I don't know anything about any tribes. I'm just a simple fortune teller. Lies. We know you hired a detective agency to keep an eye on me. Tell us why you did it. I don't know what you're talking about. Let me go! In this photo you're shown talking to the detective, and this one, and in this one, we know exactly, exactly what I'm talking about. Now answer me. Susanna showed Jeffs the photos they took of him talking to the detective. Someone must have ordered you to investigate me. Who was it? I don't know his name. He was paying me a lot of money to do it, but I don't know anything else. It's true, I swear. I was only in it for the money. Lies. He's a northern sorcerer. Of course you'll never say anything about the King of the North willingly. The King's bound to find out sooner or later. Let's force him to confess with a spell. Confession spell? Don't do it, you murderers. If I say anything, the King of the North will make me go through hell before he kills me. Please, don't use the confession spell. Ah, so you do know. You're leaving us no choice. If you talk willingly, we promise to protect you from his retaliation. Really? You fools, you know nothing of his terrible powers. Listen to me. Let me take David to him, and I'll put in a good word for you. I'll ask him to spare you. We're done here. David, take the pills. Letting him go would only spell disaster. That's a good face. That's a great face, hold on. Susanna gave David the pills. Jeff's eyes widened and his lips were trembling. He knew very well the effects of the confession spell. The others surrounded Jeffs and looked towards David and Susanna. Susanna began to chant a spell quietly. David's consciousness was slipping away. That's a good face as well. These are great faces. Ah, stop it, I beg you. My body, my head, it burns. Bleeding from every pore, Jeffs fell onto the floor, writhing in pain. Ah, my king, I beg of you, save me. Archbishop of St. Radford's Church, Lord Mellis, save me, Lord Mellis, King of the North. Suddenly, blood poured out copiously from Jeff's face. No, not just his face, it was pouring from his entire body. The floor was flooding with the crimson liquid. He's dead. He was killed by a death curse. Horrified by the events, they backed away from the corpse. They could not turn away from the scene, as if they were inside a nightmare. It's done, David. Jeff's told us about the King of the North. I might name the next one at some point. David, what's wrong? You should be conscious again now. Well done, Susanna. It is I, the Devil King. My blood has been roused and has started taking over the blood of the man called David. By the time the sun has risen, he will be mine. That's a good face there, though. Quality face. Yes, they did. What? You were supposed to give him your power, not possess him. What's going to happen to him? Worry not, David's body will remain unchanged. I am simply replacing his blood with mine. Then his soul shall be erased to make place for mine. Erased? But what about Alenovision? Too late for that, woman. What does the Devil King care about the songs of you mortals? I have come to kill the King of the North. Once my goal is accomplished, you will be free of your duties. Do what you want with your lives. You deceived us, Devil King. You were only supposed to give him your powers. David! David, wake up! Come back to me! Silence, wench! It was you who put his mind to sleep. Kill the King of the North and you can have his body back. Satisfied? Susanna started chanting a spell that would return David's consciousness. That is enough, Susanna. Your duty is over. Leave at once, lest you wish to die. No mortal can withstand the battle between me and the King of the North. Greg and the others rushed out of the room in fear of David. No, the Devil King. Susanna alone remained. She ignored the words of the Devil King while chanting her spell. Cease your spell at once. Are you betraying me, Susanna? Curses, David is regaining control. Susanna, help me. Where am I? I can hear your voice, but it's pitch black. I can't see anything. David, I'm here, in front of you. Look at me. Susanna, I can't move my body. What's happening to me? David raised his arms, closed his hands around Susanna's neck. Die, Susanna! David, you're strangling me. Put your arms down. David could hear Susanna's voice. He could not see what was happening, but he focused his mind on his arms. If he could help Susanna by lowering them, he would do so. Relax your body, David. The power of the Devil King is flowing into you. Do you not crave power? Would you rather be killed by the King of the North? David heard the voice of King Broth. He realized his abnormal condition was caused by the power of the Devil King. David tried relaxing his body, then he heard Susanna scream, and he recalled her words. As his consciousness faded away, David had to decide what to do. Branch! Hold on a minute. Yes. Save it. This point? Yeah. Let's follow Susanna's words first. Interesting, there's a branch right at this point though. David's hands released Susanna's throat and she collapsed to the floor. Susanna, your actions go against the Dark Laws. Do you realize this? Susanna, though coughing violently, stared at David. No, at the Devil King with anger. I became a dark sorceress only to help David. If you're going to erase his mind, to hell with the Dark Laws. I'll do everything I can to bring him back. Devil King, you said you would give me power, but not only are you trying to usurp my body, you even tried to kill Susanna. Why? My power can only be unleashed once my blood fully replaces yours. Erasing your consciousness is but one of the steps. Your fate has been sealed the moment you have witnessed the blood of the northern tribes. Surrender yourself to me. No, I don't want to. Susanna. Susanna, where are you? I can't see you. I told you to surrender. The blood in your veins is no longer yours, and your consciousness is fading. Only I have control over your senses. Susanna stood up again and started casting a spell that would bring David's consciousness back. Don't give up, David. I'm going to bring you back. It is futile, Susanna. Your meager powers will accomplish nothing. David's blood will not return. You are simply wasting your energy. This is pretty good. Ignoring the Devil King, Susanna continued chanting her spell with everything she had. Then there was a change in David's expression. I can see you. Thank you, Susanna. That's enough now. We can never beat him. The Devil King is too strong. Susanna did not reply, continuing to chant the spell instead. They both knew that they were reaching their limit. Tears streamed from Susanna's eyes. Her voice was unsteady. The Devil King was not interfering, seemingly allowing her to complete a final heroic act. Stop it, Susanna. Any more than that and you'll die. Don't do this. Hearing his voice, she stopped chanting her spell. I don't care if I die now, because I could talk to you again one last time. I wish this moment could last forever, but I don't want to see you die. Let's leave this world together with this feeling in our hearts. Susanna tried getting closer to David. There's quite a lot of games like this, G. That's what's so good about actually exploring stuff like this. You can find a lot of really good stories like this. Except this is like one story that I actually wanted to experience myself. David screaming "Don't wow!" Because when Trap was playing it, it actually seemed super interesting, and this was the branch that he actually played. Right then, David grabbed his chest, screaming in pain. Screaming in pain. Right then, David grabbed his chest, screaming in pain. A needle is piercing my heart. David was writhing in pain. David, what's wrong? Does your chest? It must be the King of the North. What? The King of the North? Curses. He struck while David's consciousness was in control. He might actually kill him. My blood. David's blood, roused by the pain, is taking over my blood. Am I going to be defeated by the King of the North? Susanna, you must cast the defensive barrier. If you will not, David's blood will boil and burst out of his body. Seeing David suffering, Susanna had no choice but to obey. She left to gather the tools she needed to create the barrier. When she returned, she was not sure she could actually proceed or not. What was the point of saving David from the King of the North, only for his mind to be destroyed by the Devil King? What are you doing, Susanna? Are you going to stand there and watch David suffer? Even if I cast the barrier, he's going to lose his mind forever. I wouldn't be saving him, I'd just be exchanging one death for another. Are you saying it is better for him to go through this torture? Without his consciousness, he will no longer feel anything, including pain. If you truly love him, then cast the barrier and spare him the agony. Excuse me. In tears, Susanna drew a magic circle and started chanting her spell. Cease that pathetic whining. You must devote mind and body to the spell if you wish to spare David from his torment. Seeing David squirm in pain, Susanna focused her mind on the spell. Finally, his expression relaxed. The pain is leaving. It must be your barrier. Thanks, Susanna, and goodbye. Devil King, if you want my body, hurry up and take it. At this rate, Susanna's going to die. David's blood went still, and the blood of the Devil King was replacing it once more. David's consciousness began to fade. He seemed to have accepted his fate. David, don't go. What am I going to do without you? David is no more. His memories are gone. I no longer require the barrier. David has truly become the Devil King. Susanna, I forgive you for breaking the dark laws. In return, you must serve as my personal slave. Forever. Susanna's eyes were no longer looking at David. They were looking at someone who used to be David. Pour the blood of the dead northern tribesmen onto a plate. I shall reverse the flow of the spell of the King of the North. He will feel the agony of his own magic. Without a word, Susanna obeyed the Devil King's order. She poured the blood of the corpse onto a plate. You should be ashamed to call yourself a dark sorceress with your meager knowledge of magic. Observe, Susanna. This is how you cast the dark spell reversal. Loading. Give it a minute. David, the Devil King, chanted a spell. Then he threw the bloody plate south. The stone wall hit by the plate was stained crimson with blood. Then blood started pouring from the wall. It poured copiously, as if the stone wall itself was alive. Could that have been the blood of the King of the North? The blood of the King of the North has been severed. How pathetic, to expire from a mere spell reversal. Perhaps time has diluted his bloodline, weakening his magic. I suppose the same has happened to all sorcerers, dark and northern alike. Yes, I've turned on disk access sounds, so that you can actually tell when it's actually loading. Susanna, send a summon to all sorcerers in the world. I shall establish a dark kingdom. Any country that will not submit shall be annihilated with my forbidden arts. Bad end? Rejoice, Susanna, your beloved David will become king of the world. Susanna was not listening to the Devil King. She approached the man that used to be David and hurled herself at him, piercing his heart with a dagger she had been hiding. The blood of the King of the North has been severed. I won't let you disgrace David's body any longer. Brand me as a traitor if you want. I do not fear your punishment. The Devil King, his chest pierced, slowly pointed a finger towards Susanna. She screamed as blood started oozing out of her body. She collapsed, squirming in a pool of her own blood. She did her best to resist the urge of crying in pain. She did not want to give the Devil King that satisfaction. Now, she could only await death. Shortly after, David's body collapsed, falling onto Susanna's blood. Agonizing, she crawled towards him. As death was upon them, they managed to grab each other's hand. As their consciousness faded, they had forgotten their pain. They left this world together, smiling. The next day, a large crowd had gathered at St. Radford's Church in Stratford, south of the castle where these events had occurred. They were mourning the death of Archbishop Mellis. True bad end, yeah. Everybody dies. Right, so that's another ending. So I think we still have one more ending to go. So I'm going to reset it here and then load up the CD. Alright, so load. Yes. Select from slot 3, I think. Right. Okay. Right, I actually forgotten which was the choice that we made here. Can everyone remember what the choices were? I've forgotten. Shit. Oh, resist the Devil King. Right, okay. Right, so at this point we get Jeff's. And I think we kill him at this point. Oh yeah, that's right. We either listen to Susanna or we listen to the Devil King at that point. Yeah, so we listen to the Devil King next and see what happens. So they awaken Jeff's and then they kill him. Jeff's. So this branch actually has what, 4 endings, I think? So that's all 7, I believe. Susanna. Jeff's. Slightly uncomfortable here. There's it. Time for a snack. Yeah, so at this point they're just busy arguing about what to do. Let's force him to confess this with a spell. Don't tell me about the confession spell, yada yada yada, you murderers. He's gonna kill you anyway, Jeffs. You might as well just deal with it. Fools! You know nothing of his terrible powers, blah blah blah. Time to get drugged up. Good face. Got a gap in his teeth. Very good face. It burns. such a good face. Great faces. He's dead. He was killed by a death curse, and everyone backs off. It's done, David. Jeff's told us about the King of the North. David, what's wrong? You should be conscious again now. Dun dun dun! Well done, Susanna. It is I, the Devil King. My blood has been roused and has started taking over the blood of the man called David. By the time the sun has risen, he will be mine. What? You're supposed to give him your power, not possess him? What's going to happen to him? Gonna go get a McDonald's. Worry not, David's body will remain unchanged. I am simply replacing his blood with mine. Then his soul shall be erased to make place for mine. Erased? But what about Alenovision? What a question. What does the Devil King care about the songs of you mortals? I have come to kill the King of the North. Once my goal is accomplished, you'll be free of your duties. Do what you want with your lives. You deceived us, Devil King. You were only supposed to give him your powers. David, wake up. Come back to me. Silence, wench. It was you who put his mind to sleep. Kill the King of the North and you can have his body back. Satisfied? Susanna started chanting a spell that will return David's consciousness. That is enough, Susanna. Your duty is over. Leave at once, lest you wish to die. No mortal can withstand the battle between me and the King of the North. I mean, the very fact that he's called the Devil King should have led you to realize that he's not actually going to do exactly what you say he's going to do. Greg and the others rushed out the room in fear of David. No, the Devil King. Susanna alone remained. She ignored the words of the Devil King while chanting her spell. Cease your spell at once. Are you betraying me, Susanna? Ugh, curses! David is regaining control. Susanna, help me. Where am I? I can hear your voice, but it's pitch black. I can't see anything. David, I'm here. I'm in front of you. Look at me. Susanna, I can't move my body. What's happening to me? David raised his arms and closed his hands around Susanna's neck. Die, Susanna! David, you're strangling me! Put your arms down! David could hear Susanna's voice. He could not see what was happening, but he focused his mind on his arms. If he could help Susanna by lowering them, he would do so. Relax your body, David. The power of the Devil King is flowing into you. Do you not crave power? Would you rather be killed by the King of the North? David heard the voice of King Hroth. He realized his abnormal condition was caused by the power of the Devil King. David tried relaxing his body, then he heard Susanna scream, and he recalled her words. As his consciousness faded away, David had to decide what to do. Obey the Devil King! Let's kill Susanna anyway. Deep inside, David wanted the power to defeat the King of the North. As soon as he realized this, Susanna's spell lost its effect. Once again, he was strangling her. David's hands were tightening around Susanna's neck. David's consciousness was desperately trying to let her go. I can't control my arms. Why? David focused his entire consciousness on his arms. Though only slightly, his fingers were releasing Susanna's throat. David, the Devil King is trying to erase your consciousness. He was only supposed to give me power. He tricked us all. He was always after your body. Ugh! David's consciousness wavered at Susanna's words. The blood of the Devil King assaulted David's blood, and Susanna was once again being strangled. Susanna, as a dark sorceress, you should have known that whoever breaks the dark laws must receive the ultimate punishment. Stop it, I'll give you my body if you want it so much, but if you kill Susanna, I'll bite my tongue. Do you believe you can make such a threat when you have no control over any part of your body? My blood has already taken over. Allow me to lend you my eyesight. Behold! David's fingers had gouged Susanna's throat. With a hair-raising sound, her neck snapped. Dead. Did you see, David? By all counts, you have killed her. Worry not, your consciousness will soon fade away. You will not have to mourn her loss long. Come dawn, this body shall overflow with my powers. Then, under the vigilant eye of the Star of Darkness, the blood of the King of the North shall be severed once and for all. David was losing consciousness and could no longer see Susanna. He could only hear the Devil King. He seemed so far away. David screaming .wav. This pain in my chest. Must be the spell of the accursed King of the North. David fell to the floor. I need more time. Damn you, King of the North. My heart. Consciousness of the Devil King was overwhelmed by agony. However, David himself could no longer feel pain. What's this? The northern spell has been broken. I no longer suffer. The King of the North must be drained of strength. Victory is mine. The Devil King raised his arms, shouting his joy towards the Star of Darkness. Then David's body once again fell to the floor, writhing with pain. I cannot move. I feel no pain, yet my body is writhing uncontrollably. My blood. My blood is being overtaken by David's blood. How could this be? My blood. It feels like it's burning. My heart is going to burst. The spell of the King of the North has no effect on my blood, but it stirs David's, rousing it. Before long, he will regain consciousness, only to die, and with his death, my blood will be severed. I have long waited for the Star of Darkness to shine upon the planet. If I had not killed Susanna, I could have had her cast a defensive barrier. Such a terrible mistake. This is the proper bad end. This is the true bad end. Suddenly David stopped struggling and all was quiet. Maybe his heart had finally ruptured, or... No, he was not dead. David was pushing himself up. The magic of the King of the North has vanished. He must have depleted his very life to cast so many spells in a row. However, that would be a problem. If he died on his own, I wouldn't be able to take my revenge. Good. I still sense the warmth of David's blood. The spell of the King of the North is gone, and I am alive. Devil King, do you hear me? You killed Susanna, and I'm going to avenge her. With his consciousness in control, David moved his body up the stairs. He left the basement and went further up. This game is very twisted, yes. It's great though, I fucking love it. The Devil King had no energy left to stop him. King of the North beat you. Look, my blood has been revived, and I can control my body. Why don't you try moving it? Come on, I'm waiting. You fool. As long as the Star of Darkness exists, my blood is eternal. In fact, my blood is already taking over yours as we speak. Gasping for air, David raised his eyes towards the top of the castle. With the little strength he had left, he forced himself to climb the stairs. He's gonna top himself, isn't he? Devil King, your rebirth came too late. Now that I'm here at the top of the castle, I can follow after Susanna. No matter how bright the Star of Darkness shines, the Devil King can't resurrect if I'm dead. Stop it, David. Have you lost your mind? Though his limbs felt numb, David managed to climb atop the castle wall. Holding on to his fading consciousness, he shouted at the Bellmare Comet. Wrath, the Devil King! I don't know how many have suffered, how many have died to satisfy your thirst for revenge, but your hateful bloodline ends with me! Thus David threw himself over the wall. David screaming .wav. The consciousness of a Throth, the Devil King, cried out, gripped by the terror of death. The next day a large crowd had gathered at St. Radford's Church in Stratford, south of the castle where these events had occurred. They were mourning the death of Archbishop Mellis. Game over! Yep, and that was the last one. So that's, what, all 7 endings found? Yeah, most of the ones in this branch end with the King of the North dying, but us not really surviving either. So yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good. Yes. Yeah, so the Archbishop was dead too in most of these endings. Yeah. So yeah, that was actually really good. Yeah, this game is great though. Fucking it's so deranged. So awesome as well though. Definitely worth the time spent to play this. As I said, when Trap was playing it like last week or a week and a half ago, it seemed super interesting to me, and considering I'd missed the first half of his playthrough, I wanted to experience it myself. So here we are, and we played through both branches, which is absolutely awesome. Definitely worth the time spent playing it though. Really enjoyed it. But yeah, that's pretty much all of it. So I think for the next game, I'm slightly undecided on what I actually want to play on. But I do want to load up a couple which I have been checking out. One of them, well, both of them actually are done by the same developer, Studio Wing. And they look pretty cool. Also, they work in Textractor, so I'm thinking of playing them at some point. Also, I need to switch. Actually, let me switch the CPU to 4 megahertz. Yeah, so both of these games are done by Studio Wing, and they were recommended by Trap as well as basically their masterpieces. This one is Hado no Hyoteki, and I'm just going to play the initial bit to start with though. Like, have a look at the prologue. It's actually pretty cool though. Visually, a lot of this. And also the music is awesome as well. So we basically have a couple of choices of games. I'm undecided of the order I want to play them in, but I'm absolutely going to play the two games that Trap recommended by Studio Wing, but I also want to play through Xenon as well, because I keep saying that I'm going to play it, but I always end up getting sidetracked by other games. But yeah, we're definitely going to play Xenon at some point, maybe next. But I've also put the Blade Runner remake on the list as well of games to play, because that just got released today on Steam and I have bought it. So that's currently sitting in my Steam library ready to be played as well, and that's a fucking awesome game. It's a point and click adventure based on the Blade Runner universe, and it's really good from what I've seen. This game looks pretty cool though. It's like a mystery of some sort. And I'm not quite sure what's going on. You've got the original, yeah. I know Dino had played it like recently on stream, and I've played it before as well, a long time ago, but it'd be nice to actually revisit it since it's been remastered. But this game is called Hado no Hyoteki, and it's another very interesting mystery set in modern times by Studio Wing. And it looks pretty cool as well. But yeah, this works in Textractor as well, and I want to play this at some point. Hado no Hyoteki. Yeah, so it's basically just another adventure. But the other game that I want to check out is Onryo Senki, which again is a disc that a game that Trap recommended because it's also done by Studio Wing. And that actually starts off a little bit more interestingly, as you'll see in a second. Both of these I'll be playing on PC-88, and both of them work in Textractor. Why is it so warm today? Jesus. Studio Wing. Yeah, I'm actually very interested in this studio, actually, the games that they made. But the two games, the one that I just put on, which was Hado no Hyoteki, and this one, Onryo Senki, apparently they're masterpieces. So, yeah. Also, you probably just saw the sensor thing flash there because I have to press num key 1 in order to progress. So I'll probably take off the sensor screen or move it to a different button at some point because I need to actually have access, yeah. But this is Onryo Senki. Originally I think it was on MSX, but it's on PC-88 and 98. The 88 version though, for some reason, doesn't play sound. So we're going to play the 88 version instead. And as you can see, it's probably very messed up already. But it looks awesome, and I've got to play this. But I'll decide on what to play next, in what order, because tomorrow is most likely going to be Shmups, XP, Archaeology, Windows XP Archaeology. Because Friday I'm reserving for that, to progress that on. Saturday I'm not sure what I'll be doing. I'll probably be playing something. Sunday, same thing. Monday I might do some jongs. Maybe. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'll decide on what to do for the next stream. Wait, Gita, thanks for the follow. Horror games are great. Horror games are really interesting. I find them super fascinating to play. Especially modern horrors, like the survival horrors. I definitely find them very good to play. I keep meaning to play Fatal Frame 3 and 4 as well, because they're on the list to play, but I might save them for Spooktober. Actually have some stuff to do for Spooktober this year, because I've skipped out on it last year. This is pretty cool though. This is, I believe, set like in somewhat recent times. I keep thinking it's like feudal, but it's not. Yeah, Fatal Frame is brilliant, honestly. I've played 1 and 2 before though. Unfortunately, the VODs were on the old channel, but that doesn't mean I can't play them again. But I prefer to play the ones I haven't played yet. So Fatal Frame 3, 4, and 5 would be next on the list, and I've already got 5 on the Switch. Yeah, so at the beginning, we meet this guy who, for some reason, has demons following him. And we are attacked by him. And it's funny because the monster looks like a Wendigo. Onryo Senki. Just look at the effects. How cool is this for PC-88 though? Yeah, so we're attacked, but we wake up in hospital. Disc, whoa, is it disc 2, is it? Hold on a minute. So, disc 2. Yeah, disc 2. This is cool though. But it's another one of these types of stories where, you know, it's like a horror mystery. And you have to like click through different options in order to progress it. But yeah, this is another game that's going to be on the list of things to do. Again, I just need to decide on what order I'm going to play them in. But if I do play Xenon, it's going to be on Owncast, whereas Hado no Hyoteki and Onryo Senki will be played on Twitch. So if you're in Discord, make sure you keep an eye out for any kind of alerts as to what I'll be streaming next. However, this will be it for tonight, of course. Thank you all for watching, everybody. Tomorrow I'll be streaming Windows XP shoot-ups. But I'm going to find someone to host, and fucking hell, it is boiling today, so I'm going to go make something quick to eat and grab something to drink as well. I'm going to host Anne because she's playing stuff. So I will see you soon. Have a good night. Thanks for watching, everybody. It's been a pretty awesome stream. Hopefully you enjoyed watching Mirrors, because it was pretty fun to actually play through. And hopefully we'll have some more games like that as well. So yeah, I'll catch you all later. Have a good night. See you soon. Laters.